This week on No Cell Service, our hosts cover the American supernatural horror, Dr. Sleep. This content is intended for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised.
Our follow-up to The Shining.
Wow. So soon.
This, I don't think I've watched this movie since I saw it in theaters.
I'm jealous that you got to see it in theaters.
You didn't watch it in theaters?
No. Unfortunately not. I was told by a good friend, hey, dude, it's a great movie. You gotta go see it. But I never got around to it.
It's almost falls in like I was saying off air, I was watching interviews with Mike Flanagan. Guys, we did another Mike Flanagan movie.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, didn't realize he was the director for this, but the cinematography fucking makes sense.
Yeah.
When you find out he's the director.
100%. When I think about it, yeah, it didn't click in my head because I immediately was Googling about a different director, shortly after I finished the movie.
Mm-hmm.
When you said, he was like, oh, he also did Oculus. I was like, that's not any of the movies that I just read up on that this guy did. But no, I was fucking, it doesn't matter. It's just, yeah, I was like.
Wrong director.
Yeah. But no, Mike Flanagan, the director of Oculus, that episode will
2 episodes ago.
Did it already come out?
Yeah, it came out before. So The Shining comes out tomorrow. So we're recording early.
That's right.
Last week was the Oculus.
Yeah. So when you said that, so many scenes popped in my head. And I was just like, that makes so much sense.
The slide.
Oh, dude. There's so many badass parts of this movie that are just so cool.
It's when I was watching the specific scene with Rose astral projecting. I was like, this is a Mike Flanagan movie. It's like when you watch a Michael Bay movie and you're like, explosion, blah, 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 and you're just like, oh, it's a Michael Bay flick. His cinematography is top fucking notch. I think he might be one of my favorite directors.
He's really fucking good. The storyboarding too. Oculus was complex, right? You have the two sides of this story that you're telling at once, essentially. You got to be on top of your shit in order to execute it correctly. But then to go a step above and slap a fucking Stephen King copyright on that bitch.
And do it to where Stephen King approves of your fucking script.
Oh my God. I mean.
The way, so the interview I watched, Stephen King, or Mike said, I can't remember which one of them said, Stephen King had read the script and said, this is too good of a movie, they won't make it. And Mike came back with, bro, it just got greenlit. We're good.
Hell yeah.
No, it's really, neither of us have read Dr. Sleep. That's one of the books we haven't read, so I can't talk source material wise, but I know the ending is different than in Dr. Sleep, and some of that stuff is different.
It has to be. Anyone who at least read The Shining would know why.
Yes.
There are big inconsistencies.
There's at least one big one that you have to cope with in this in the series or in this movie. And so I think the way it was written is very good. The changes made to give the story what it is and kind of, how did he say it? Give Steve, because he kept calling Stephen King Steve, that rocked my brain a little bit, the ending he deserved in The Shining.
Yeah. Because
the fucking ending to this movie is exactly what I pictured. It's so good. Before we get too deep into it, if you guys listen to us on YouTube, I didn't realize the episodes weren't auto-updating to YouTube, so we had a 2-week break where we didn't actually have a break. It just didn't auto-upload.
Yeah, those episodes were up on other platforms the whole time, but if you only watch on YouTube, unfortunately, our auto-uploading program just
It just didn't.
It just didn't,
The way it works is it auto does it because we have a hosting website for the podcast, so I don't have to upload to all of the sites we're on. It only allows me to update YouTube videos or auto upload YouTube videos every 7 days. And I guess when I had published the episode on everything else, it was earlier than I had published the previous week, so it wouldn't auto do it. I don't know. Whatever it was, I was on YouTube last week, caught it, uploaded the episodes. We'll have the Goodness Book Club last week as you're listening to this. Book Club will be out. The Shining will be out as you're listening to this. Everything should be up on YouTube. Everything should be up to date, and we should all be good. If you don't see it something, if you are like, why isn't there an episode? We upload every week. We have only missed 1 week.
Yeah.
And like we've been late we missed a week, and then we were late one time because it didn't upload till Wednesday because I did the calendar wrong.
Yeah.
But we upload every week. So if you're not seeing an episode, hit us up on something because I messed up somewhere uploading.
Yeah, that gives you an excuse to hop in Discord and tell us we're fucking up.
Yeah, or on Instagram, and then our social media manager can yell at us.
The only way to improve is through feedback. It's a sketchy thing reading the comments.
That's why we have a social media manager.
Yeah. Also, only thing I would really want to say before we start this episode is trigger warning. There's a lot of like really fucked up shit that happens to children specifically in this movie.
Yeah.
Like pretty bad. If you've been listening the past couple weeks, a month's worth of the last episodes, you know that I'm trying to be a dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so if me, who can just like watch any of this shit and be like, it's a movie, it's okay, struggled for some of this shit, that's why I kind of just want to put it out there that it's pretty fucked up, some of the stuff that occurs in this movie.
Yeah, and there's a specific scene that I watched the director's cut, so I had a 3-hour long movie to watch.
God, I can't imagine how they touched on it more.
Yep, that was one of the scenes that was extended, and we'll talk about it because I also have some behind the scenes facts about that scene.
Yeah.
Which makes it better for that scene after you know some behind the scenes stuff.
Good, because that just made me feel like shit, and that was only like, I mean, there's a couple things that happen before the crux of the whole movie, really, and you're just like left feeling like shit about it. But I mean, that's part of it. The putting you in a situation or a mental space before like throwing you into the shit to make you like really feel a part of the experience, as much as watching a movie can.
Yeah. It's
like it works. It's just, I mean, it makes sense that like Stephen King read the script and be like, dude, they're not going to want to put this on film. Like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
You might want to fucking find a book publisher because like shit.
No, it's in my opinion, from what I know of the novel, and again, it has Stephen King's stamp of approval, so I'm assuming it's a really good adaptation of the book.
Yeah.
I was a little sketch about it because I'm like, damn, and we'll get into it. It's not a spoiler. Dan just turns into fucking Jack with his alcoholism and like how he copes with stuff. And not saying that's a bad kid's traumatized through a lot of shit. Like he's gonna turn to something. The continuation of the spiral, right? Because Jack's dad was an alcoholic, and then for Jack to be an alcoholic, and then Dan to turn into an alcoholic.
Well, yeah.
That generational trauma, man.
The way that it's kind of mirrored, especially later on in the movie, is so top tier. We'll get to a scene that just, I was smiling the whole time. I was just like, man, this is fucking wild,
It was done really well. It played a good homage to the Kubrick Shining film while still being its own film and still being... the way he describes it is there are 3 storylines, right? Because he had the Kubrick Shining, the original Shining, and then Dr. Sleep. Yeah. And trying to make this movie something that is all 3 of those things, where you're still like, The Shining deserve to have a good adaptation, but the Kubrick film is what people think with The Shining. Yeah. And then to be like, but this is the sequel, so how do we fix all of this and make it its own thing? Yeah. Phenomenal.
Again, the
Mike Flanagan, man.
Mike Flanagan fucking he killed it.
Wrote, directed, and edited this shit. Like
he's got his style, so and I mean,
because this also deals with not timeline, 3 different storylines in one. He could have wrote this movie, and I wouldn't blink twice at it because it has all of the things that he likes to do in his movies.
Well, Mike Flanagan is good at writing out and really like doing a good job of telling a story around generational trauma.
Yeah,
watching horrible shit happen to kids. How does that affect you as an adult? What kind of, ideals do you grow from then on? You know what I mean? What sticks around? Those are all like very specific things that you really have to nail, but like he fucking knows how to do it. I mean, Oculus, the way that he
fucking Hill House, man,
portrayed, dude, holy shit. Yeah, it's just like, it's his thing.
He just does it so
it's so
good.
fucking good. I guess we should just get into it because there's a lot to talk about.
There is. Like I said, for me, it was a 3-hour-long movie. I have 7 pages of notes. This is
usually like 5, right?
4 to 5. And like 5 loosely, like I have like a paragraph or 2 on. I have, is it a full 7 pages? It's 6.5 pages, almost a full 7 pages of notes on this fucking movie.
We'll try not to
tangent too hard.
Yeah, tangent away, but
so we open on a top-down shot of a forest, and we're slowly zooming in on this camper. We get the same ugly teal-colored text for Dr. Sleep. It has a better font than like the kind of Comic Sans that was last time.
Yeah.
You can see that that's elevated, but I did like that they did the same coloring. That was really nice.
The homages will be homaging in this movie, like insanely, but in the best way. It's not cringy or like of course they had to do it. It's just like, no, it's like a part of the story. You gotta just accept it. It
makes sense. So out from the camper walks this little girl. Her name's Violet. She walks past her mom, who's like, hey, like, don't go too far. And she's like, I'm just going to go pick flowers. Don't worry about it. And they're at a campground, and there's, like, creek nearby. And she's picking, like, these little, not daisies. What are they? Are they daisies? Maybe.
Oh, just little flowers.
Like the little, like, white flowers with the yellow centers. I think they might be daisies. I don't know. And we get a sign, a text across the screen that says Florida 1980 as she's walking. And she wanders down to a creek where there is a woman with a top hat on who is singing. Singing with
at the lake.
The Irish accent?
Yeah.
And she's...
It's not strong, you know.
It's good.
She's been around.
Yeah, that light accent that you can hear in, like, specific words.
Yeah.
She's got really pretty flowers in her hands. And she's like, oh, I just know where to find them. And what I loved about the scene is she's like, I know where to find them. And behind her, there's a big bush of these flowers. Yeah. Where the little girl could have found it. She gives her the flower, and she's like, oh, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking why I wear such a silly hat. And, well, it's a magic hat. You know, like, I think you're a little magic, too. Like, tell me what color the flower is in my hand. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like, I won't be scared. Like, let me know. And she's like, oh, it's purple. And she's like, oh, or violet, like you. And then she looks over, and there's, like, a random person in the woods. And
just
she's like,
standing there. She's like, don't worry about that. That's my friend.
Don't worry about it.
Focus on the magic trick.
You're missing the trick.
Also, really quick, I just want to say Rosie is played by Rebecca Ferguson.
Yes.
Who is the mother from Dune. She was in, she was in Greatest Showman, actually.
Was she?
Yes, as well as the Apple TV series Silo, which is actually, like, pretty fucking sick.
I haven't watched that one.
She is a great actress. I mean, to go from this to, like, some of the other shit I've seen her in, it's that range is pretty fucking wild.
She's in, like, Mission Impossible.
Yeah, the later ones, right?
Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, which was 2015, and then Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
I only watched the first 3 Mission Impossibles. After that, I was like, is it really impossible?
You've done it so many times.
Yeah,
she's fantastic. She, as Rosie.
Rebecca Ferguson
yes.
kills it in this role.
She, Rose the Hat is her technical.
Rose the Hat.
And her lover, never fully specified on what he is, Crow Daddy, calls her Rosie. Like,
Crow Daddy.
Yeah, his name's Crow Daddy. We'll go into it a little bit deeper, but like her caravan people, I'll call her Rosie, but her her go-to name is Rose the Hat, because her hat is super important to her. She does the whole like paper trick or the flower trick, dumps out her hat, and like there's more flowers, and then you look back over to the forest and there's more people.
Yeah, you hear like a snap of a branch, and Violet looks over and there's like 6 people now instead of 1. And the camera like pans over and just like shows more and then cuts back.
And Rose eats the flower. She's like, you can eat flowers. What does she say?
Well, Violet's like, you can't eat flowers. And she's like, of course you can.
And she's like, it's special. And she's like, that's
the more special it is, the better it tastes.
Yeah. And Violet tries to leave, but Rose grabs her wrist and like bends it a little bit and keeps her there.
Violet's like, I want to go. And she's like, oh no, You're
not going.
You're not going anywhere. And then she's literally gripping Violet's arm so hard that she starts bleeding. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I didn't see that.
Literally, blood starts to run through Rose's fingers.
Damn.
Yeah.
It just then cuts to Violet's mom screaming her name. Just, Violet, where are you? Vi, come here. And then behind her, you just see the caravan of these RVs and Jeeps leave. And you're like, oh, damn. They killed her. And you don't know For what purpose? They just killed her. You're assuming.
Yeah, kidnapped her at least.
Kidnapped her, minimum.
Yeah.
And we get text on screen. So this is another thing that we get throughout the movie is it's split into 5 different chapters. 6 different chapters? 6 different chapters. So we get chapter 1, The Old Ghosts.
Mm.
We're watching Danny roll down the hotel
Yes.
on his trike. He's doing the whole thing, and they redid these scenes, right? Obviously. Yeah. So it's a different trike, and the thing that struck me was like the sound difference because we talked about it in the Shining episode where it's the trike, the plastic wheels going from the carpet to the hardwood and that sound.
Yeah.
This one, it has a slightly different wheel, so the sound is different, and that was a little jarring to me. I don't know why I was expecting the same sound. Obviously it wasn't. And he's rolling down the halls until he passes room 237. And he stops and he does it's shot for shot. It's the same scene. And he looks around and the doorknob is twisting and it opens slowly into this darkness and out walks the naked lady.
Dude, the naked lady emerges out of the black and it's just like terrifying.
He wakes up from the nightmare in his own bed and he's a little older now. And he walks down the hall in like an apartment type area.
He's still a child though, but he's just like...
He's like 8 now instead of 5. He's just a little bit older. He walks down to the bathroom only to hear sloshing coming from the closed door.
He opens the door and...
the curtain is halfway across the tub, just like it fucking was.
It's even got the like green tiled back wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the hand reach over around the curtain and slowly pull it back, and it's the old lady, and she's
watching him,
smiling.
He slams the door, covers his eyes, and he ends up peeing his pants. Poor kid. Then gets jump scared by Wendy kneeling behind him, being like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like she grabs his shoulder.
Which I also have to say, the lady who plays Wendy did a great job at capturing old
the mannerisms of Shelley Duvall,
even like the vocal tone.
Mm-hmm.
It
she
was
did
like
such a good job,
spot on. You know, the way that the inflection and how it kind of like
the cadence of when
she says like Danny's name or Doc or anything like that, it's fucking spot on.
You know, she did a really good job.
It's perfect.
Mike was saying that she like studied Shelley Duvall's movements to make it like to make it her own, but still have that where you're like,
but
that's
like embody
Wendy.
It because and she killed it, dude.
So
absolutely
good. He is sucking his thumb again, and she's like, "Doc, like you got to talk to me. You haven't talked since." And she trails off, and you're like, "Oh my god, Danny stopped talking when they left the Overlook Hotel. He doesn't talk anymore." She gets him back to lay down, goes down the hall to look in the bathroom, and she opens the door, turns on the light, looks around, and has a moment of relief as there's nothing there until she looks at the bath mat that has 2 wet feet print on it, which has to be terrifying.
I think that was an extra.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
Did you not see that part?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so she go, where does it cut for you?
It's pretty much after she's like, "You haven't talked to me since everything," and he's just sitting there sucking his thumb, not saying anything. I think it just like cuts after that.
Oh yeah, no, she goes back into the bathroom and there's 2 wet feet prints on the mat, and she just like wide eye stares at it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Later, Danny is sitting on a bench by himself across the lake when we're just looking at him, and then the camera turns as you hear Halloran start talking, and you're like, "Oh, fuck, you're dead." Okay, so he's still seeing shit. Obviously, we saw the old lady. Now we're seeing you. He's going through it still.
He's still got the shining.
And he starts talking about the things that happened at the Overlook and how Danny speaks to him and says, "My daddy tried to kill me." And he's like, "Your dad? That wasn't your daddy. That was the hotel. Like your daddy loved you. You gotta kind of separate the 2 things and reconcile with it. Like you need to grieve, but." Dude, you gotta like buck up, man. Like it's over.
But then Danny's like, "You told me they were just pictures," and Halloran's like, "Well,
to me they were.
To me they were only pictures, but I didn't have nearly as bright of shine as you do."
Which was really fun because in the book, Wendy says you're like a battery for the hotel, and so in this one, him being like, "You fed them." It's the connection.
So this is where Halloran is like, that's what you were, like a 1,000,000-watt light bulb in there or generator in there, and all of these, the hotel was like feeding off of you essentially. And he explains it in easier terms to that, you know, because he's talking to Danny. He's still a little kid. He's like, yeah, there are things older and eviler than anything in that hotel even, so you gotta
keep, does he say you gotta keep shining? He says you're gonna teach someone just how I taught someone, and he's like, I'm never teaching anyone anything.
And he's like, well,
too bad.
Just I'm stuck with you here and now, you know what I mean? So I didn't choose for you to walk into my hotel kitchen one day. That just happened.
Yeah. And he says, oh, we better get you back to your mom. She's already paid her debt. She doesn't need to worry another day in her life.
Yeah.
And so he stands up, and Halloran's obviously gone, and you hear Wendy and this
running across the street.
What's the actress name? The way she runs is
it's perfect,
Shelley.
dude. It's Wendy to a T. It's Shelley Duvall to a T. Alex Esso.
Fantastic.
Oh, she was in The Pope's Exorcist?
I haven't finished that one.
I think I fell asleep during it, yeah. But
she's collaborated with Mike Flanagan.
She was in The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh.
Charlotte something?
She's in Midnight Mass, too.
So yeah, Wendy runs across the street and grabs Danny. Then the camera pans over to a missing child poster.
And it's Violet.
And
like Wendy's saying, you can't do that to me. You can't scare me like that, as it's panning over to a missing child poster.
And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
For many reasons, right? The whole hotel experience, and now wherever you are, there are missing children.
Yeah, fuck's sake. I mean, they live in Florida now, which is like, you know, probably, I mean, children go missing everywhere, but...
Oh, we did skip over, Halloran teaches him the box trick.
Oh, that's right.
So the whole point of this interaction is Halloran talks about his grandfather and how he was a mean son of a bitch, and how even after his granddaddy died and he danced on his grave, he kept coming back. And so he kept seeing his granddad until one day his granddad hurt him, dug his fingernails and made him bleed. He came up, his grandma taught him the box trick, where he hands Danny a box and says, I want you to memorize the inside, outside of this, smell it. You got to know this box like the back of your hand, because you're going to make one exactly like it in your mind, and you're going to put stuff in it when they come after you. So he's teaching him how to compartmentalize and lock shit away. Yeah,
but the Shining way of compartmentalizing, which this is so cool. Because later that night, Danny and Wendy are sitting there watching Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Danny, like, gets up off the couch,
looks down the hall into the bathroom,
where
the curtain is being drawn back.
Yeah, sees the lady again, and then he ends up walking down the hall and then going to the bathroom and then just closing the door, and then we get like a really quick cut to a box that's like the box that Halloran gave him, but bigger, and it's sitting in the middle of the hedge maze in the snow.
So
and you're like, holy fuck, okay. Well, the fact that is just now his mind.
The hedge maze being his mind is wild.
Oh, my God.
And later on in the movie. Oh, my
so
God.
Good. Sorry, I'm like fangirling over here. It's just like.
This movie is so good.
On top, the absolute cherry on top. Ewan McGregor.
Dude. Yeah.
Fuck's sake, dude.
So he sits back on the couch with Wendy, says, oh, everything okay there, Doc? And he speaks and says, I'm fine. And you're like, oh, okay. So he got it. He nailed this box trick. Perfect. We get the fading. It does the same fading that the Shining does. I don't know why it feels better. I felt like for The Shining, the first time I did the fade in and out, it felt very jarring.
I think it was because it was, well, the fade outs in The Shining were really slow.
These are a little faster.
I think of Jack and Wendy standing there talking to the owner of the hotel. And then
Mr. Ullman.
Yes.
It does that. Yeah.
It's showing Jack and Wendy. They wrap up the conversation and Jack's just smiling. And then he looks over at Wendy, but it's like fading so slowly that you see all of that and it just melds into the next scene weirdly.
Right.
But not conformatively, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair.
This is Mike Flanagan does it smooth. He's very good at just being like, whoosh, here you are.
And we just spent however long doing Oculus talking about all of his transitions. So, of course, the transitions in this are fine.
Yeah.
It fades into an older man sleeping with him like slowly waking up and then getting like flashes of what he did last night of taking shots at a bar and meeting this lady. And he rolls over and there's a lady there and she's thrown up in her mouth and is laying there.
Throw up on the bed and on her arm.
Is she alive? Is she not alive?
That makes him sick, so he sprints butt-ass naked to the toilet, and we get a top-down view of him shucking up into the toilet.
As we get another shot of him fighting, no, because he looks in the mirror, talking with this woman, and then we get a look of him in the mirror, and he's checking out a black eye he has, and then we get a cut of him beating the shit out of someone who decked him at the bar with a freaking
this dude punches him in the face, so he comes back with a pool ball
and just
and fucking decks him in the side, well, a couple of times
until he gets pulled off. Yeah,
and then it cuts to him and the girl at this girl's apartment, and she's like, I wonder if you killed him. As she's snorting cocaine, being like, I bet you killed him. I hope you killed him. And then she gets on top of him and they start making out. And then it cuts back to...
Oh, but during that fight, he says, you're going to take your medicine.
Oh, that's right.
And you're like, oh, this is Danny. Yeah. That's a Jack line, and he's got a temper.
Ewan McGregor playing Danny was never something I expected at first, but like as soon as I saw it, I was...
It's good.
Oh my God.
He does a good Danny.
Yeah.
And he gets dressed. He looks over. The woman has not moved. And at this point, I'm like, dead? I think she might be dead. He doesn't check. No. He just looks at her every once in a while, and he pulls out his wallet, and there's no money in his wallet. So he goes over to her wallet, pulls out a bunch of food stamps, and then pulls out... Well, no, because he pulls out a stack of something and then pulls out cash.
Yes. Yeah, he empties her wallet and then like pulls a bunch of cash out and starts taking it away. And all of a sudden you hear Halloran coming in. You don't have to do that, Danny. And he's like, I think she took my money to buy the fucking cocaine. Yeah. And he's like, you still don't have to do that. You can
just put it back. And then you hear a toddler say, mommy. And you look over and there's a little blonde-headed toddler. And so what does he do? Keeps the money, grabs the toddler and a thing of Cheez-Its, sets the toddler on the bed with the mom that is most likely dead. I assume dead at this point. She has not moved. Throw open her mouth, right? With the Cheez-Its, and he's leaving, and Halloran's like, man, like, don't do this. And he leaves. Yeah.
That's hard. That was hard.
That one was rough.
That's a hard scene. That's not even the worst one.
No, that toddler had been there the entire time they were drinking and doing coke, and it was just in another room. What was the poor kid? And I mean, like 2 years old, maybe.
Yeah, I've seen too much police body cam footage of some really horrific shit. People are evil.
We did get text on screen that says New Jersey 2011.
Yes.
As well. So we get a timeline here going.
Not all people are evil, but there is true evil out there, and I hope none of y'all ever experience it firsthand.
We then get a cut to New Hampshire, where there is a little girl playing a piano pretty well. And her parents are like laughing and joking, and they're being super cute, and they come up behind her and they're like, baby, like, is you Abra? Fucking killer name, I gotta say.
This was an extra scene.
Really?
Yeah. Because the first time we meet Abra in the regular version is the birthday party.
Oh, okay. Well, they come down and they tell her it's bedtime, and they go take her up to bed and snuggle her in because she's got a big day tomorrow. They're in bed, and you get a little time lapse, right? So they put her to bed, and then it cuts to them being in bed and being woken up from a dead sleep by the same song she was playing on the piano. We just put her, like, what the fuck? And so they wander downstairs, and the piano is playing itself.
That's cool.
Then we get a text on screen that says Long Island, and there is this young blonde woman, girl, we find out she's 15, watching a black and white movie when this theater is pretty much empty, and you're like, oh, this is like one of those dollar theaters that are kind of a little shady type thing. Yeah. And she's sitting down watching the movie. This guy comes and sits next to her and is like, are you Andy? She's like, yeah, and you're blah, 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 whatever.
He's like, you're younger than you look in your picture.
You're prettier.
Prettier, yeah, sorry.
And she's like, you're older.
Either way, I was like, gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, and you're older than yours. And he's like, well, are we going to stay here or are we going to go? And she's like, don't you want to watch the movie?
Yeah.
And she like snuggles into his side as he wraps her arm around her.
And then it pans back to Rose the Hat and Crow Daddy sitting like 6 rows back. And Rose is like, this is just some cute...
We've seen this before.
Yeah, like some cute dime store fucking romance bullshit.
Crow Daddy's like,
no, wait.
Watch. I've watched her... What did he say? 6 times.
He's like, I've watched her do this with 6 different men.
Watch.
It cuts back to the girl and the guy, and she just goes, you're feeling really sleepy, aren't you? And he just nods off, and then she's like, keep saying it, and then he falls asleep.
grabs his wallet, takes all of his money.
Yeah, she takes all his money out of his wallet and then says, she takes like a scalpel out and starts like cutting into his, or saying like, you can explain to your wife a lost wallet, but how are you going to explain this? And starts cutting into his cheek. And she's like, every time you see this, oh God, what does she say?
You'll look in the mirror and you have to remember, you have to say out loud, I like little girls. And he's a fucking pedophile. And this is like, we find out she's 15 and he's looking for children. She's like, every time you look for a child, every time you do this, hypnosis is him. And right before
like
that,
full on suggestion. Yeah,
right before she goes on the tirade with the cutting the cheek, Rose is like, she's not that steamy. Like, she just stole his wallet. And Crow Daddy's like, wait for it. And then she does the cheek thing, gives the whole suggestion. Oh, every time you go looking out for a little girl, you'll remember the snake that bit you in the white blouse. And she kisses where she cut into the cheek, and you can see it's like 2 lines, like fangs sank in, and it's just dripping. She walks out. Crow Daddy follows her, and he's like, hey, miss. And she turns around and says, you want to stop following me now? And he stops. And she turns back to keep walking, and then it's Rose, and she's like, you want to let me go? Yeah. And Rose is like, oh, sweetheart, that's not going to work on me.
And they drug her and take her away.
They drug her? That's where it cuts for me.
Oh, yeah. It does cut, but yeah, and
I guess like
we'll get to it.
Inferring, yes, that they probably.
Yeah, getting ahead of myself.
We're back to Dan, who is now passed out under an underpass. He has a bottle in his hand and he goes to drink it, and it's empty. And he wanders over to a bus station, drops his cash on the counter, and says, where can this get me? How far can this get me? And he gets on a bus headed to Fraser, New Hampshire. We are now at Abra with her birthday. Abra is like, I don't know if they say what birthday this is. Is she like 6? No, she's got to be... Maybe younger? I'm really bad with ages.
I think like 6 is probably good, because it's a couple years later that,
it's 8 years later.
Yeah.
So she would be like
she's like
12.
She's like a young teenager. Yeah. When I would assume 13 at the oldest.
Yeah. They don't specify. We get a time jump, everybody.
Yeah. Well, young
Abra.
They're all like, there's a big birthday party going on in their backyard, and
there's like a magician.
This dumbass magician is doing petty tricks, and like he does this trick with these spoons, and she's like, I can do that too. And he's like, sure you can, sweetie. And just keeps doing his bit. And then the parents walk inside the house, get whatever.
They're like picking up they're picking up after the party.
Yeah, the dad walks into the house, and the wife is like standing there in the kitchen. And they're staring at a bunch of cutlery that's just strewn about all over the floor with the drawer open. And the dad's like, what the fuck? And you see the mom looking up at the ceiling, and she's like, David? And he looks up, and all the spoons are stuck to the ceiling.
And not like stuck in the ceiling. Just like if there was a magnet that would like just the tip of the spoons were hanging there. And Abra comes in from behind them and is like, see? Magic.
Look at that. Like with a big ass smile on her face.
And they look at her terrified, and her smile drops, and all of the spoons slam down.
Scare the shit out of the parents.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And that sound wakes up Dan on the bus.
That's right. Yeah.
He startles awake, and he's like, what the fuck? And we get chapter 2, Empty Devils.
Doesn't it also like
it
give
washes
Rosie
over
a
Rose,
twinge?
Yeah.
Yeah, she kind of gets like a twinge of what the fuck?
Yeah. And then we get, chapter 2, Empty Devils. Rose's RV, fucking killer inside,
oh my
okay?
God, dude.
Like, if you could have a cottagecore RV, that is what it is. It's got plush, old-style furniture that, I always hated it when my grandma had it, but it's that rough fabric, but it looks really pretty, and it's so pretty. It's got like those rich like browns and reds in there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, she walks in making tea, and Andy is like passed out in her bed.
Which is why I said they drugged her, because she wakes up being like, where the fuck am I?
You kidnapped me.
Yeah. She wakes up because fucking Rose slams the door to the trailer, and she's like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to wake you. So anyways, and this girl is like, I think she tries to like...
She does. She's like, you kidnapped me. And Rose sits down next to her with tea, and she's like, She calls her Snake Bite Andy. She's like rambling about the whole story. when Andy says, you kidnapped me. And she's like, girl, you're only going to tell me the truth from now on. Thank you very much. And she's like, you're the most pretty woman I've ever seen in my life. And she's like, oh, that worked a little too well. Okay.
Yeah.
And she gives Andy an explanation about her powers. Like, you're a pusher. You can push people to do things. And we haven't had a pusher in a really long time. How old are you? 15? You want to stay 15?
She's like, 10 years from now, you still want to be 15?
100 years?
100 years from now, you might be 17. If you stick with us, you will live long and eat well.
Yep. The true knot.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, that's a thing. And then it cuts to Dan, who is getting off the bus, wandering over to a public park that is a scaling miniature of the block he's on.
In the middle of this park, they have a miniature scale model of the town square.
He's checking out like a train, like one of those kid trains that they're big enough for kids to ride on and ride around the park. Yeah. He's looking at it, and homie looks rough. He's got like a scruffy beard. You can tell he hasn't like showered in a while. Again, he just woke up from an underpass. When Bill comes up to him, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I was just looking. Bill's like, no, man. Like, look, that's what it's here for. This used to be a community project in the library, but now we have it out here. You learn that this is called Teeny Town, and a bunch of kids with help from like adults have been building it. And so that's a teenager or a mom or someone is like painting the clock tower, like the top of the clock tower, and he's explaining everything. Billy says something about, oh, people only come up here if they're looking for work or running from something. And Dan says, both. I'm running for myself. And Billy, being a real great dude, he's like, I know that look. He helps Dan get an attic apartment. Come talk to me about a job later. He gets him up to the apartment, and the person renting it out to him is like, Billy, you really want to stick your neck out for this man? You fucking kidding me? As your neck on the line, dude.
Bleeding heart, this fool.
Yeah, it's $85 at the start of every month. Billy's already paid for your 2 months. You will not miss it. And she talks about her previous tenant, and he's like, I'm not loud. Like, she's like, no visitors, no parties, don't be loud, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. No animals. I don't know if she says no visitors, but she says no parties and no animals. Don't cause a ruckus. And he's like, I'm a real quiet tenant. And she's like, yeah, that's what the last guy said. He's a math student, apparently. I let him paint this whole chalkboard wall and put his puzzles up there, and he can't even bother to paint over it when he leaves. So on the wall, she's like, behave, $85.
Yeah, she writes $85 a week, and under it, behave. It's like, that should be easy to remember for you. And then, she hands Bill the keys.
He asks him, he's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, sometimes I just get a hunch about people, and I got a feeling about you.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the beach where Andy is watching the waves crash, and it looks like they have kind of set up camp here, like the whole caravan's there. She's sitting on a beach chair. And Rose asks if she's ready, and the whole family appears. Call them the family because that's what Rose says, because Andy says something about your friend, and she's like, he's family. Mm-hmm. They're all family. So the family appears. Grandpa Flick is the oldest out of all of them. He is going to lead them. And so they sit around a campfire, and she has Rose has Andy lean in her lap and look up into her eyes as Grandpa Flick is leading them in this whole weird ass ritual.
Like a chant.
He says some stuff, and they chant, and then he says more stuff, and they chant, and it just said a foreign language.
Yeah.
So don't know I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Old
timey,
language.
Language. And then they are like, we agree to tie our life to hers. And Rose looks over her and says, agree, like, say yes, you agree. And then two of the other women of this whole caravan come over, and they flank Andy as she's laying there, as Rose gets Violet's steam from this canister, and French inhales it with her. And Andy starts gagging and choking and thrashing, and that's why these two women have appeared to hold her down as she's thrashing. And Rose keeps saying, embrace it. You're okay. This is going to be fine.
Yeah.
And then Dan wakes up to a fly. And then he looks down, and there's an arm around him. And you're like, what the fuck? And he gets out of bed and falls to the floor as like stealthily as he can. The arm grabs his arm in this death grip of digging her nails into it. And it is the woman he left with the baby.
She's like, you didn't even check on me. You didn't even call the cops.
They haven't found us yet. They're so used to him crying that no one called.
They haven't found us yet.
She says it twice. And when she says it the second time,
the camera pans down. The dead baby turns around and says, Mama, again. And that's fucked up.
And so she was full as dead, and
she was dead, and he just left this baby with her, and then the baby just
also perished. He looks over, they disappear out of his bed. He looks over, and there's a bottle in his bag, and he, instead of going for it, he goes down to Billy's room and says, "You said you saw something in me. I think I need help." And so he goes in there, and the next scene we see is them at a church for an AA meeting, which it kind of sucks that all of the AA things I've ever seen like are Christian based. They're all church based.
It's all based around religion.
Yeah. And that like sucks. As someone who's not religious, like I feel like I could not go to, if I had an addiction problem or something, I feel like I could never go to one of those groups because I'm like, I don't want to fucking pray. I'm not here for that.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely not the only types of those things that exist, but I feel like they're the most like prominent ones I see. In the right setting, it definitely makes a difference. If you're making a movie based anywhere in like the Southeast, it's probably going to be that type of place over like just a non-denominational addiction center, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure, like on the West Coast, it's probably a lot more prominent to just have regular ass. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's kind of dependent on where you are, but also I think we see it a lot probably because it's like, when you think of it, do you mainly like from that stuff that you see, is it from like movies and TV shows, or is that like real life that you've kind of like seen around or like heard of people that you may know that have like had to put a family member there or whatever?
Yeah, I dated a chick who had a heroin addiction, and her Narcotics Anonymous was at a church, but she was in Ohio.
I know that, they may not necessarily, those programs may not be based around any religious beliefs, but they may just,
I know a lot of them like use, because it's like a community area that you can like it's almost
like, we have the space, let us in our good faith allow you to use this space to work through all your shit kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they're also
religious undertone.
Yeah, or like if the program is out of a church, obviously it's going to have those religious undertones. Yeah. But that's why you probably just Google it, nowadays, just be like, I don't want religion in my rehab.
So there's like a prayer going on. And the dude leading it is actually a doctor. And he's given a whole thing about, he just gave someone a chip, and then he's like, oh, did I miss anyone 6 months, 5 months?
Any newcomers?
The most important people of the night, any newcomers, any 24 hours. And Dan raises his hand. The doctor welcomes him up and that kind of thing. And then it cuts to after the meeting, and Billy and Dan are talking to the doctor. He says something about just coming off the floor or something. And the doctor's like, hey, there's no judgment here. You don't need to apologize. What matters is that you're here and you want to get help, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he rubs his wrist, and Dan looks at him as he's rubbing his wrist. Before, like, the doctor's like, oh, like, I need to get going. Like, I'll see you guys later. You find out that the doctor has been working there forever, delivered Billy's brother, but he's about to leave, and Dan goes up to him, and he's like, hey, you were worried about that kid with Goochers, whatever.
Yeah.
And you were washing your hands. You left your watch on the soap dispenser. Just check the soap dispenser, and he walks
away. The guy's,
away.
like, staring at him, stunned. He's like, Gaucher's disease. And he's like, yeah, you forgot you left your watch. It cuts to
the next day,
and Danny's in this guy's office, and he's like, how the hell did you know that?
He's like, just call it a hunch or a gut feeling. And he's like, yeah, don't bullshit me. Like, why are you here? Why did you come here of all places?
Yeah.
He's like, a fresh start somewhere that wasn't where I was. Like, I'm looking to get better or whatever. And the doctor is like, Billy tells me that you're an orderly or have orderly experience. Or do you have a job right now? And he's like, I'm working a few days a week at Tiny Town, putting in a few hours. And he's like, okay, I'm looking for an orderly at the hospice center. So he gets
like, do dead people freak you out? And he's like,
no,
we're all dying. The world is just one big hospice center with fresh air.
Fresh air, yeah. Fresh air hospice center is what he says.
Damn, bro.
He's not wrong.
Way to hit me with that at fucking 10 a.m. this morning. I really had to sit with that for a while,
It then cuts to Andy, who wakes up on the beach with this old school type music playing, and she looks over, and Grandpa Flick is looking at her above his book, and then she looks over more, and people are like walking out of their caravan, like RVs and stuff, looking at her. There's someone sitting at a bench, and Rose comes over, and she's like, how long have I been out? And she's like, oh, just a few days. You'll feel better after you eat. And she's like, you said it didn't hurt. And she's like,
doesn't hurt now, does it?
You're fine.
I mean, yeah, yes.
She's like, you killed me. And she's like,
am I dead? And Rose says, does it matter?
Do you
even
care?
care?
Yeah. She's like, you brought me back. She's like, yeah, let's eat.
Yeah.
Let's go eat. And she brings Rosa over to Grandpa Flick, who hugs her. And then it cuts to Abra getting tucked into bed. And she's asking her mom if she's scared of her. And her mom's like, we love you more than anything, sweetheart. Not answering the question. I love you, my heart. And then we're back at Dan, who is mopping the floor in the hospice center. And the cat, Azrael,
Crazy name for a cat.
hey, goes in, scratching at one of the bedroom doors. And
He's like, no, stop.
no,
You can't stop.
Get out of there. Leave him alone.
And the cat like pushes through the door and runs in. So he goes into the room, and the cat jumps up and is like sitting at the foot of the bed with this old guy in hospice care. He goes in to grab the cat, and the guy's like,
Doc?
Yeah, he's like, Doc?
There's a cat. The cat's on my feet.
He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, I knew the cat would be in here.
It's got a sense about these things.
Yeah, it knows when someone's about to go. Danny keeps insisting that like he'll go get a doctor, and the guy's like, no.
You're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
And then he's asking him, or he's saying,
talking about being afraid of
the long sleep, and
whether it hurts or if there's nothing at all, or what if there is anything, like I'm afraid. And
Danny says, it's just a long sleep. It's exactly how you said it. And the guy starts to panic a little, and he uses his little shine power and like
speaks in his head.
And he's like, it's just a long sleep. You're okay.
True restful sleep. And then the guy like kind of calms down, and he's like, thank you, Doc.
I see my wife. And he calls him Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
He's like, I see my wife, and this like exhale comes, and you watch this mist leave his mouth.
Yeah.
He then walks into his apartment, and there's hello written on the chalkboard with a little smiley face inside the O. And he looks at it.
Takes him off guard.
And then he walks over and he writes
He
hi.
writes hi on the board, and then it cuts to
Abra.
Little Abra in her bed, and she giggles and like turns over and like hides her face like she's kind of blushing.
We get a flashback to the Overlook with some old-timey music playing, and we get the title Chapter 3, Little Spy. We're in the Colorado Lounge, which I think I misstaked in The Shining. I think I called the room where Jack was writing the Colorado Lounge. It's supposed to be the bar. It's called the Colorado Lounge.
Mm-hmm. I think by now I'm realizing I don't think in the regular version they have the chapter names put in.
Really?
I just remember it being a fucking movie.
Oh.
It's interesting that
it's just some text on screen. It's not... You might have missed it, yeah.
Well, I was watching pretty fucking closely. I swear to God, I never...
Interesting.
So I was fucking watching pretty intently because I love this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. But at the bar, it's, again, the Colorado Lounge with the bar that Jack is at, always, in The Shining, pretty much. And there is a mostly empty scotch glass or like whiskey glass just sitting there.
I think this is also an extra scene.
Oh, yeah, it's just chilling there, which is foreshadowing for later pretty much. And it cuts to 8 years later with Danny in AA still at the same town, and he's getting his chip, his 8-year chip, I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes up there and he's like, I didn't prepare anything, but I figured I'd just talk about whatever comes to mind. He's holding the chip, and he looks at it, and he says, my dad had a chip like this right before he died. I saw him with it. I think it was a 5-month chip. And, my anger was the only way I knew him. The drinking and my temper, that's the way I knew him.
I got to know him best in my darkest times. And it's interesting because I also get to know him standing up here like this in this position.
Because he would also want to be here. And
yeah.
he
also
was here.
tried, yeah.
He was here trying to get better, and so this is for Jack Torrance.
Jack only made it 6 months, though.
To be fair, he could have made it longer. If the hotel wasn't...
Honestly, yes.
If the hotel wasn't haunted, and like all of the shit,
longer.
I think he would have actually been sober by the end of it. But in the book, he somehow gets drunk in the book. Like the hotel gives him drink and he gets drunk. And even Wendy's like, how? There's nothing here. We have cooking sherry and you smell like gin. How did this happen?
Yeah.
Back in the hospice center, Azrael is laying on this man's feet with Dan sitting next to him. And the guy's like, so this is what a visit from Dr. Sleep is like. I knew it would be coming. Dan looks at the guy and he's like, what do you see, Doc? And he talks about these twin boys and this guy's name's Charlie, some of his memories. And he's like, I'm scared of there being nothing after. And Charlie's like, people don't end. Dan says, people don't end. He says some like other sweet things,
he's
other
like, you
memories.
gotta just trust me on this one. Like he's been talking to Halloran, like he sees fucking ghosts. Like he knows.
People don't end. Things happen, but you don't end. And he like hovers his hand above Charlie's head and he's like, I can taste my mom's blueberries she used to pick. Can you taste them? He's like, I can. And he peacefully passes. Well, they sing, They have a whole memory of being on the beach with the radio, and they sing together until he passes.
Some Frank Sinatra, I think.
Yeah, some Frank, what they call it. I was like, that's wild, because usually it's like Sinatra. People rarely call Frank Sinatra Frank.
Some Frank. Listen to that good old Frank.
He goes home, and he's still in the same apartment, and this morning there is a note on the wall that says morning, and he's like, oh, good morning, my little pen pal. It's been a minute. And then right above morning, he just writes, school.
And then it cuts to Abra, and her mom immediately is like, Abra, it's time to get ready for school.
The True Knot are now at a campground hanging out. Rosie is chilling on the top of her RV that has like this nice panel porch thing that you can walk across. And she's meditating up there when Crow Daddy tells her he's getting close to finding him, but in the meantime, they gotta open a canister. And she's like, bro, we just had steam 6 months ago. 6 months is nothing. Y'all need to get over it. And he's like, look, man, you look at Grandpa Flick. He's not doing well. And she says he hasn't been doing well since Nixon.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be wasteful. If you're finding someone, we don't need to open a canister if you're this close. And he says, I need it to get to them. And she's like, fine, we'll open a canister. And he also says, like, you're looking for a whale. Is one of the things. It cuts to a baseball park in Iowa where there is a little league. Is it still little league when they're like 10? Okay. I don't know when things change.
I mean, when you're 3'7", I wouldn't necessarily call that the big leagues. You know what I'm saying?
I just didn't know because like there's t-ball and then there's like little league, and I didn't know if there was like something before playing in school, if there's like another league or anything.
Teddy League. I don't know.
So number 19 is up to bat, and you hear the crowd saying, hey, like, you got to watch this kid. It's like he can read the pitcher's mind. He never misses. And in the crowd is Crow Daddy watching. They watch him hit this pitch right out.
Smack it.
He wins the game, and he is walking home. And I guess it's Iowa. But, like, he is walking on the side of this 2-lane freeway type, or, like, highway, I don't know, by himself. Where are your parents? And the one of the vans for the True Knot comes up, and this guy's name is Barry. And Barry's like, hey, I just watched your game. Like, it was
leaning out the window like a fucking predator.
Really?
Like,
yeah,
hey,
in a Predator van.
Yeah, that was really awesome. He's like,
you on your way home?
Yeah, the kid's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, like, I can give you a ride. And the kid's like, no, it's pretty close. So, like, don't worry about it. And then the side door opens to the van, and fucking Andy, like, peeks out, like, fucking creepily, because she's all crouched down, and she's like, no, you trust us. You want to come with us. And the kid's like, I trust you.
I want to come with you.
Yeah. And then it like cuts out to like this high up shot in the sky looking down, and you just see the kid climb into the van, and then they drive off.
Okay. I put this note before we get to the scene so we can talk about it. So we're about to get into some heavy child abuse scene.
Mm-hmm.
The kid playing Brad, the kid, loved this scene.
Okay.
He had a fantastic time filming it, and the first time they filmed it, what was her name? Rebecca?
Yeah.
Cried.
Oh.
Because of the scene, and she's like, I'm ruining the scene. He's doing a phenomenal job, and I'm ruining his scene because I'm crying. And after the first time they did it, the DP wasn't looking no one was looking at the camera, no one was watching it happen, and Mike cut the scene and was like, that was really great. The kid playing Brad like got up and he like went over to his dad, and they were talking and just having a great old time. He's like, that was fantastic. I can't use any of your guys' faces. You have to be enjoying what's happening, because every one of them was like,
yeah.
But no, the kid killed it in the scene. He had been practicing for ages. They were like, he super enjoyed it. So before we get into the scene, the kid killed this scene and was happy to do it. Everyone was very conscious of the kid, was very respectful. Like, he went over to craft services. He was eating lunch. Like,
hell yeah. That's good.
Yes. This kid is gonna kill it if he stays in horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
So with that out of the way.
Does some other stuff happen first before we get there? Or does it just, do they pick him up and go straight there?
It cuts to like nighttime. So they pick him up during the day and then they drive to like this abandoned quarry or field type thing. And they're hammering spikes in the ground and they pull him out of the van and they're tying him to the ground. Rosie comes over and it says, "Pain and fear purifies the steam."
Meanwhile, this kid is screaming the whole time.
He's like, "I'm not going to tell anyone. Let me go. Let me go." And they're not. Obviously, they have him staked to the ground. His screams, man. His terrified screams. He is such a good... Talk about a scream king. Oh my god. The just bloody murder.
He made
terror.
the scene.
Yeah. Of these screams. And then he gives like this really big scream. And then it does that thing where it's the ringing in your ears where the scream kind of fades out and you just hear the true not breathing. And as he's screaming, there's like the steam coming out of his mouth and they're inhaling it.
Yeah, because they're like stabbing into him, cutting him open, and torturing him so that this vapor
Steam,
comes
yeah.
out, the steam, and they're all like inhaling it as it comes out.
Abra sees all of this happen while she's sleeping, and she wakes up and starts yelling, "Stop, stop, you're hurting him, stop." And Rose hears her say stop,
and
she
like looks back.
And she's like, "What the hell? That's weird."
I just want to say this really quick before we continue. All that said, with how fucked up this scene is, I would still watch this movie over and over again, and watch this scene over and over again if I had to, over Eden Lake.
Yes. So this...
Because that kind of kid fucked up shit is just like...
So the difference here, and this is the same thing with... It's a Mike Flanagan movie. He does the reaction shots versus the torture scenes, right? You see how people are reacting to things. And... the director's cut version, there's like blood spray that gets splattered up onto Bradley's face. And like this scene is extended, but you don't see any of his stab marks. You see his reaction and you see the true Knots reaction. You're just seeing the blood and seeing everything happen and hearing the screams.
True. It's different with Eden Lake because you just watch everything happen and you're like, that shit sucks. Mm-hmm. Damn. Now I just feel like shit.
Yeah.
This is not the case with Dr. Sleep. It's a very well done scene. And now I can watch that scene more comfortably knowing. But this will never be a movie that I can show my wife.
No, it would not. So Abra screams as they're like stabbing Bradley and it wakes Dan up, who falls out of bed, and the chalk wall fucking cracks and bursts. And it says, he looks in the mirror and sees red rum and he's like, fuck. And he turns around to the chalkboard and it says murder broken. Her scream
cracked the walls.
It was
my
so
God,
good.
dude.
And he writes back, "Who?" And then
underneath, Abra replies, "Baseball boy."
Yeah, he's like, okay. And it just says baseball boy on the bottom. They finish off Bradley and he stops moving. And she's like, "I really thought he had 2 more minutes left in him." And Crow Daddy brings over a canister that she pops open, and it makes me think of Danny Phantom with his a little bit. Dude. He pops it open, and she stabs him and pushes on him a little bit to gather that steam, and she like sucks it into her mouth and then blows it into the canister.
In my head canon, that's where Mike Flanagan got the idea from. He was watching Danny Phantom, and he was like,
"Yeah, a canister.
Right there.
Perfect." In Danny Phantom, it's a soup thermos, and it very much kind of does look like a thermos.
It's literally like a soup thermos, but it has like these 4 things that come out of the top, make it open up, and she like inhales the last of what's coming out of the kid and breathes it back out into the thermos or whatever.
It cuts to Abra, who is curled in on herself. She has her knees to her chest, and she's crying. They killed him, and her parents are just like trying to comfort her, watching her. Dan is still staring at the chalk wall, while Crow Daddy and Rose are burying Brad. She tells them, oh, that's right, they're burying Brad, and she says, "We had a looker tonight." And he's like, "Well, okay, like whatever happens." And she's like, "From the East Coast." And he's like, "You're telling me you had a looker from over 1,500 miles away?" And she's like, "Got big steam.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's a girl. And she was out of here real fast." And he's like, all right, we can figure that out. And she's like, "I haven't felt power like that in ages." And he's like, "We have to get to her quick, because if she goes to a psychiatrist, if she talks to her parents, and those pills are going to taint her steam." And I'm like, wow, that's...
You don't want tainted steam.
Just here I am taking my Prozac, and I'm like, the tainted steam.
I mean, we're already adults, so,
Hey, but we learn with Dan here in a second.
But he's special.
And so will Abra. Who knows? Maybe we were special and we just said, that's going to go in a box, in a hedge maze. And we're never going to talk about it. We're the next day, Dan gets ready to go and he writes on the wall beforehand saying he hopes that whoever, what does it say? I hope you have a good day. Your friend, Dan. Abra walks downstairs and she's talking to her mom and she's like, hey, I made a new friend today. His name's Dan. They don't live here. I think they live in Frasier. And her mom says something and she's like, no, nothing weird at all anymore. Because her parents think her quote unquote shine is like,
well, I know you can sometimes be like a radio tower or something like that. Is it like that? And she's like, no, nothing weird.
At school, she has her headphones on and we learn a lot of the time we see Abra, she's got headphones in with her phone on. And when she takes them out, she is a radio tower. She's like tuning in. She looks at someone, she hears their thoughts. So she's like looking at one guy who's like, I'm never going to pass this test. And she looks at another one and he's like, what? The math doesn't make sense. And then it's a girl who's like, why doesn't he like me? And then it's another girl who's like, why is the weird kid looking at me? Why is she always looking at me?
Yeah.
And she goes back over to her computer and they're like in homeroom or just like a free period. And she's looking at missing kids on the school computer. And she
finds Brad's picture and clicks on it. Ends up printing out that page.
At school.
Sure.
We learned her dad's a writer. She goes back home and she's like, how's the book going, Dad? And he's like, it's going. And he says what it's about. I don't know, some history stuff. And she's like...
She just like looks at him and is like, I gotta go do homework. And
he's like, oh, okay, sweetheart.
You do that. Think Harvard in 3 years. And she's like, haha, maybe. And he's like...
We'll see. She lays in bed looking at the photo, and these are some Mike Flanagan shots right here, where she's like sitting up and then she lays down and the camera goes with her, and she concentrates really hard on the photo and she can see what happens to him. She sees
gets, like the flashes of
and
where they are, even like at this abandoned.
Oh yeah, she gets the flashes of the
sign,
signs.
and she's literally like writing down the name that she sees on the signs while her eyes are coated white.
Have you the automatic writing? Have you heard of that? It's like when ghost hunting, someone goes into a trance and they just like automatically write whatever they hear inside their head type thing. That's pretty much what she does.
Like they do it in Insidious, the gas mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, she concentrates. She sees the whole thing happen to him. Her eyes white out. She sees the whole caravan. And this fucking scene, dude, of the click, 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 click of the caravan moving along the edges and like it acting like kind of like a train. Oh my God. The cinematography, I knew as soon as we were watching it, as I was watching it, I was like, oh, we're going to be saying so much shit about how good the cinematography was. And again, makes sense. Mike Flanagan, you fucking monster of a director.
Killing it. Killing.
So she stands up, goes to her window, grips the edge of the window, like the trim around the window, and holds it there. And then the room tilts sideways and she's hanging just from her little fingy grips on the edge of the window. Oh my God, dude. And the camera just like, you guys have to watch this movie because I cannot explain the way the camera movements work.
It's so good. It's so cool.
She then falls into a grocery store where she looks down and we see Rosie's hands. And then we're in Rosie's POV, and then she turns around and she like senses something, right? But she doesn't see anybody. So she goes over to the frozen food section with like the doors, and she leans against the doors, like how Abra was leaning against her window, and she's like, well, hello there. It cuts to her being in Abra's POV of her bedroom, and she reaches her hand around to like touch the back of her head, and Abra shoves her out of her head saying, get out! And like her scream pushes and shoves Rosie physically back to her body, and then her physical body
flies back like 10 feet as the
glass shatters.
Yeah.
And then gets shoved again.
Oh my God. Yeah, she gets pushed again even farther down the floor.
Clerk comes over and is like, ma'am, are you okay? And tries to touch her hat. And she's like, I'm fine. My cat, thank you. And then it's Dan who is getting picked up off the floor by Billy, and they're like, what happened? And he's Billy's saying, you hit the floor, and you were saying, please help me, Tony. Who's Tony? Then it cuts to Rose, who is explaining to Crow, the girl, and is like, dude, like,
Dude,
we
she
have to
fucked
find
me
her.
up. She's even stronger than I thought. That's never happened to me before.
Crow is like, so do we turn her? If she's as strong as you're saying, like, why aren't we turning her? And she's like, no, I want to eat her. She would be amazing. And then she's like, wait, you know how, like, when you kill a cow, you're fed for like a month, but like if you breed a cow, you have milk forever. What if we did that to her and we just kept her alive and continuously fed off of her? And Crow's like, yo, we've never done that before. And if she's as strong as you say, that sounds like a really bad fucking idea. Why do you want to do this? And she's like, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Doesn't matter. We're getting her. And we get chapter 4, Turn World.
Wow. You said there's 6 chapters?
Mm-hmm. We're on page 4 of my notes.
Oh, wow. I honestly thought that we weren't as far as that.
I didn't think so either. We're only at like an hour 20 in too.
Yeah.
Well, we were like, we gotta.
I expected, yeah, not as long a tangents today.
So we get Abra, who her mom drops her off at school, and she watches her mom drive away, and instead of going to school, she goes to the Greyhound.
Yeah, it like cuts from her walking into school, you know, along the sidewalk by the school as like other kids get dropped off. And then it fades into her getting off of a bus. And then the camera pans out and she's in Frasier. Because like it's the same shot of like the downtown, and you see the clock tower. And she
clocks Dan. She like senses for him and then finds him and walks over.
She just like stands up and stares at him and smiles, and then he like looks at her and starts walking away. In his mind, he hears her say, "Hello." And he like turns around and she's just standing there smiling at him like, "Hi."
And he calls over to Billy and he's like, "Hey, Billy, I gotta," and he's like, "Okay, dude." He walks over and sitting on the bench and he's like, "You tracked me down." And she says something in his mind and she's like, "No, use your outside voice. Come on. Yeah. This is weird, dude. You can't. He's
like, "We can't eat like."
In this day and age, a grown man with a child. And she's like, "You're my Uncle Dan and I'm here for visiting." And she sticks out her hand.
Yeah. "Hi, Uncle Dan." Shakes his hand.
They sit on the bench and he explains that, or she's like, "I've never met anyone like us that can do this." And he's, what does she call it? She calls it something. He's like, "Oh, I've never called it that. I've called it," because she calls it magic. He's like, "I've always called it the Shining." And so it's fucking Halloran's speech to her in his own words.
Yeah, it's
everyone has a little bit of shine to them, and I've only met a handful of people who actually know they shine.
Yeah, and you're immediately watching as Halloran's prophecy almost is like coming true.
You'll help someone.
He's like, "You're gonna have to teach someone just like I taught you." And even though little Danny boy was like, "No, I'm fucking not," Halloran's like, "I didn't expect you to show up in my kitchen, so Dan didn't expect this fucking girl to just show up at his work."
Track him down, yeah.
Work being the tiny town train.
He's I wonder, because he was originally like working there 3 days a week, but I wonder now if he's doing it as because it's a community project. I wonder if he does it for free, like as a volunteer.
Yeah.
Because he's a full ass like part of this town now. He's like made a home out of it. Like people know who he is.
It's so sweet. He like integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What does he say here?
He tells her that it's dangerous.
Well, he explains that he's like, "I didn't know what it was, so I called it Tony for a while."
Oh yeah.
And he asks if her parents know, and she's like, "They think it's going away and that I only do a little bit of it now. Like if my mommy loses her keys, I find them or things like that. They don't realize how much I can do because they won't be able to look at me." She then tells him about Bradley and how like they need to track him down. And if you can get the glove, then I can track it because that guy named Barry what is his name? Barry the Chunk.
Yeah.
Was wearing it, then she can track them. And he's like, no, you need to put your head down, stop shining.
Like that, they're dangerous motherfuckers. Like,
stay away. Like they will just keep coming. And he's like, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." And he walks away. And then that's even worse, because if anyone asks, like he just left his niece on the freaking bench.
Yeah.
But we get a flashback to Danny and Wendy watching TV again, and Danny says, "What's wrong?" And she's like, "Nothing." And she glances at him and looks away, and he's like, "You're thinking about Daddy, even though you don't want to." And she's like, "Don't worry about me, sweetie. Everything's fine." And then he goes into the bathroom and does it's the same scene. Oh, I don't know if we got it in the movie. It happens in the book. where he goes into the bathroom and he like stares at himself in the mirror to concentrate to see what someone's thinking. It's the same scene. I don't think we got it in the movie though.
This is also an extra scene.
Oh.
I did not see this.
Yeah, he like goes into the bathroom and like stares into the mirror and smiles at himself a little bit. Then Dan is back at work at his hospice desk. He's still working nights when Azrael walks into an empty room and he's like, "Hey, you got your wires crossed. There's no one in there tonight. What are you doing?" And goes in there.
Walks up to the room and opens the door, and there's a figure at the window. And so he like steps in and he closes his eyes to like, you know, get ready to lock this thing away in a box. And we get this shot of the hedge maze, but there's like a row of boxes.
Yeah.
He has this is the only other time we've seen them since he grew up and compartmentalized all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got so many boxes, and you see it one opened a little bit and it's like ready to, you know,
lock up whatever this thing is.
And then you hear Halloran being like, whoa, bro, like
calm down.
Yeah, calm down, bro. He's like, oh my God, it's Halloran. Like, how have you
I
been?
taught you how to do it once and now you do it all the time.
Yeah, it's like, it's been so long.
He's like, yeah, and it's going to be the last time I'm here, actually. He's like, I can feel it. And he is here to berate Dan. He's like, those devils are after her. Talking about Abra being like, you can't leave her like that. They eat screams and drink pain and they've noticed her. They're going to keep coming for her and you just can't leave her. And he's like, what do you want me to do? And he's like, help her. You have to. And he's like, why me? And he's like, because you were there. Just like I was in my kitchen when you came. We just get picked for this shit. You don't have a choice. You have a debt to pay. Go pay it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he says something about you owe a lot of debt and you need to pay it for like everything that he got through. It cuts to Rose, who is meditating, and Crow comes in and she's like, I said no distractions. What's going on? And he brings an iPad. Oh, no, it's fine. Brings an iPad and she's reading out this article, and this street in New Hampshire had a mini tremor, even though the weather forecasting people are like, there was no tremor. What are you guys talking about? And they're like, no, like we definitely had an earthquake. And she's like, oh, now we have a street to focus on. This is definitely her. And Crow's like, if that's her, we have to be so fucking careful. She's a little girl and she shook an entire street, making people think there was a freaking earthquake. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And Rose is like, she's a little girl. We'll be fine. And he's like, fucking fine, whatever. He's like her voice of reason, but he will roll over and show his belly to her.
Mm-hmm.
Abra is laying in bed when Mom comes in, and she's like, hey, like I'm flying to go see Momo tomorrow. She's not doing well.
Is she gonna make it this time? Which is so crazy to me that, like, it's not a shitty thing necessarily, but it's crazy to me to think that, like, you're using your kid as like, a way to figure out if your mom is dying.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell you, though, Momo as a grandma name? I'm here for that.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know, my mom, she really wants to be called Bebe. Because that's...
French?
Means, no, it's Swahili.
Oh.
For grandmother.
Oh, because Bebe is baby in French.
Bebe.
My aunt, she goes by Mona.
I love that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be, I can't remember what it was supposed to be, but the kids said it wrong, and so now she's Mona.
Hey, dude, my brother couldn't say grandma, so he just said Bama, and now that's...
Yeah,
I call her Bama.
You start with a name and then it devolves. Abra says she doesn't know this time if she's gonna pull through, which is probably a bold-faced lie. And she's like, I just don't want to see that. Like, I'm not gonna look.
I ain't gonna tell you your mom's dying.
Rose is now on the roof and she is meditating to go find Abra. And this is the scenes where I was like, this is a Mike Flanagan fucking movie.
Climbs up the ladder, gets on the roof of the RV. She sits down in a meditative pose.
Astral projects.
It like closes in on her face and then it slow zooms out, and behind her is just stars, space behind her, and then like it zooms out even more, cuts to this, she is parallel to the earth. So, you know, behind her and to the left of her and to the right of her, it's just space, but you know, on the screen looking at it, she's on the left in space and on the right is Earth in this perfect, she's just like flying above it quietly. Like there's no noise.
Yeah.
It's just this astral projection, and it's so good.
She slowly starts coming in through the clouds into the street, and then like softly lands on the street and looks over and is right in front of Abra's house. And she goes into the room, and did you clock this immediately? Because I did. I was like, that's not what Abra's room looks like.
Yeah, so
it's wrong.
It's crazy because she like floats in from above the house, but comes in upside down, halfway and comes feet first in the window, but then just touches down perfectly on the floor. The wall opposite side of Abra and like her bed where she's sleeping, instead of just like her normal wall with like whatever she had in her bedroom, it's full stacks of filing cabinets.
Did you notice like around her bed though was different?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so that's what I meant.
Oh.
We learned from Abra later that she specifically changed her bedroom, because we'll see here in a second that Abra knows exactly what's happening. But around her bed, she has fairy lights in the real world. She has a bunch of fairy lights around all of these different bookshelves and makes it like it's very, for lack of a better term, girly. Like she has a bunch of stuffed animals and plush things. And when Rose comes into the room, there's no fairy lights. There's none of those bookshelves. And then the bed looks like just, it more looks like Dan's bed, where it's just like a single bed with like a green blanket. So she changed the look of her room.
That's crazy.
Because Abra's a smart fucking cookie.
Well, Rose gets in and she like looks at the cabinets and she's like, keep sleeping, child. And she goes over and opens a cabinet and starts flicking through all the files.
Did you see what cabinet? Because she looks over and she's like, oh, that one. I couldn't read it.
Swore
the one right above it says mom, and I don't know what that one said.
It was either a trick of the eye because of the fact that the mom one right above it, or it said me.
See, I thought it was also something with like ME, or
I think it was just me.
That's what I also thought, but I wasn't sure. So
Yeah.
it could have been. Also above Abra's bed, there's like a swirling galaxy, which looks so, it looks so good.
But Rose goes up, starts flicking through the filing cabinet through these files, and then all of a sudden a spotlight shines down on Rosie, and then the filing cabinet slams on her hand, and then fucking Abra sits up in her bed. She's got no eyes, and she's got like weird purple hair.
Yeah, so she's
got the hair of her favorite anime character.
Oh my god, you're right.
That's why they show
that's why they show the figure, because it's the same
figure
hair
and the poster.
Yes.
Oh my god, I just realized
makes sense.
that.
So she doesn't look like Abra. She has no identifying features on her face, and then her hair is wrong, and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, and she's like, I knew you were coming. And Rosie starts panicking.
And then,
because this turns into a horror movie for her.
Yes, because Abra shoves herself into Rosie's mind, and
she goes up and like fucking grabs her.
Goes into her head, and Rosie said earlier, she was like, my mind's like a cathedral, and she goes in, and her mind is the Library of Congress, and instead of having like filing systems, it's like the flick decks, where it's just like index cards, and freaking Abra is flicking through all of them as fast as she can. So,
like, inhumanly fast. And you can see that with every little flick, it's almost like taking jabs at Rosie's mind. She's, like, literally getting, like, punched around inside her fucking head as Abra's going through like, ripping her fucking mind apart, essentially. And it's so good. Sorry, I bumped the mic, but I'm just, like, so pumped.
And then her hand is still locked in the filing cabinet, right? And she screams as she rips it off and, like, de-gloves herself. And this is the scene I was talking about earlier, where they did it in Gerald's Game. It happens in Gerald's Game, and it's the same special effects people that they were like, yeah, we already did it in Gerald's Game, so we kind of got this shit unlocked for this.
Hell yeah.
And then they're like, but she sold it with the way her fingers were twitching and like they were limp. And oh, dude, it looks so good.
She rips her fucking hand out of the filing cabinet.
But now her feet are stuck to the floor.
Yeah, her feet are like glued to the floor, so she's taking one step back at a time, slowly, like yanking her feet off the ground. And then eventually she's able to like...
She has to fling herself up off the ground and fling herself back to her body to get away from Abra.
She launches herself out the window, and instead of flying back the way she was projecting earlier, like smoothly across the sky, she's like tumbling and falling through the sky as her body's flung back, or her spirit or whatever is flung back to her body. And it cuts to top-down view of her laying on top of the RV. And you see her spirit slam into her body, and it launches her off the side of the RV, and she falls like 15 feet.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
What I was thinking of is in Resident Evil, when they launch, that doctor gets launched into the wall.
Oh, yes.
Just like that intense rip. That's exactly what I was thinking of with her getting ripped through the sky. Like, it is not pleasant.
This whole scene is peak. Oh my fuck. Watch the movie just so you can watch the last 10 minutes that we just talked about. It's like peak fucking cinema right there, man.
It's so good. The cinematography, like if I ever wanted to do cinematography, I would just study Mike Flanagan movies. Like that would be peak to me.
Dude.
So
oh my
she's
God.
on the ground and the rest of the knot is like, what the hell happened?
They get up, go to check on her, and her hand is actually fucked up.
It's bleeding
and she's
profusely.
like fucked up and she's panicking, being like, she got inside my head.
And Crow's like, what did she see? And she's like, I don't fucking know. And she's like, well, how did it happen? She's like, I don't fucking know. And then Barry comes over and he's like, we have a problem. And she's like, not fucking now. And he's like, it's Grandpa Flick. I think he's cycling. And now she has to deal with that. So she goes over and the way they cycle looks very, very painful.
It's fucking brutal.
So he's breathing in really ragged and laying on the ground. With every breath he takes, it's like years are getting ripped off of his body. He's like slowly like mummifying.
You see his whole body kind of like flash and almost parts of it go transparent. If you ever see in sillier movies when people get electrocuted, you see like the UV and like their bones and stuff. It's kind of like that, but it's their physical form is no longer able to exist, and so it's like fading, but their skeleton's still there, so their skin's almost receding back to the point of where you just see the skeleton, but it's doing it in flashes. So he'll look normal, but then it'll like flash and do this kind of like X-ray transition of him like
disintegrating.
Yeah.
Until he's like, I'm scared, and Rose comes over and is like, looks down at him and says,
no, you're not scared.
You're not scared. You were a king. You made emperors kneel at your feet. You were in battles. You
ate princes and kings and queens.
Like goes off on his whole history. And she's like, so no, you're not afraid. And she kisses his head and then he disintegrates into nothing.
Well, he fucking violently screams and like is in agony before he just disintegrates into steam. And then feral fucking animals, everyone immediately just gathers around his steam and just starts like fucking inhaling.
Oh, because what we didn't mention with when they were eating Bradley, for lack of a better term, with the steam, is it's like opium. It's a drug to them. They get like really like sensual about it too, where they're like touching each other in like that weird kind of just sexual type manner, and they're just like like again addiction to them, like of this steam.
Which is so, I love the way that they tie addiction into it, because one of the biggest themes of The Shining and Dr. Sleep is addiction, you know, and so to have it be reoccurring on so many different levels versus just, oh, Dan's an alcoholic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, Jack is an alcoholic. There's so much to it.
Yes. Well, Abra sends a message to Dan now, and she's like, I found him. I got into her head, and he gets up, and he's, what the fuck did you do? He goes over to the chalkboard and is about to write her, but says, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. And so he sends a message back mentally. He then goes downstairs to wake up Billy and says, I need to tell you a story, and I need you to do your damnedest to believe me.
You think I'm a good man? Or do you trust me? Like... all this, and he's like, dude, it's 4 a.m.
He's like, I need you to try harder than you ever have in your entire life to believe me. And the next shot is him and Billy in a car driving. Abra appears in the back seat while Billy's asleep, so she appears and she explains what happened with Rosie's mind and all of that stuff.
He's like, how'd you do it? And she's like, oh, I just gave it a little push.
Like
and
this.
She pushes Dan, and he fucking, I don't remember.
He swerves on the road.
Yeah, he swerves on the road and wakes up Bill.
In his head, she sees the hedge maze with all of the boxes, and he's like, they're nothing. And she says, yeah, you can't lie to me. And he has to explain about, this is what I do to compartmentalize, like those people who feed that you're talking about. I dealt with something like that, except it was a place, and this is how I dealt with the things there. Poor Billy just looks at him, and then like sinks back into the seat a little bit. We
goes back to sleep.
Crow and the caravan getting ready to head out, but he kneels in front of, and I see kneel, but she's like sitting, so he just kneels in front of her to talk to her, not like kneeling as like a princess type situation. Yeah. Where he says, I think you should stay behind, because so far as we know, the only person this girl can track is you. I will circle around. I will do the long way. I will knock her out. I will bring her back to you, but I don't think you should come, and you know I'm right. She agrees reluctantly, but And he says that he'll leave Andy, but she declines and says they need all of the power they can take her. So Billy is now driving. We get back to them, and he's driving and says, I think we're here. He's having a little mentee bee about it. He says, either I'm dealing with my best friend is mentally cuckoo, he thinks he's talking to things and all that kind of stuff, and I can deal with that. That I can deal with. And Dan looks at him and says, yeah, if I'm right, then that's harder to grapple with. I get it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Dan has to bring Abra back to see where they're going, and so he's translating to Bill, who's looking at the empty seat, and him just, and they get to the spot.
They get to that old quarry or
thing, whatever,
old
factory
industrial place.
Yeah. Dan forces Abra to go away because her apparition's
They
been
grab
there.
shovels and go to dig, and he's like, I think you need to go home. And Bill's like, what? And he's like, no, not you.
And then he's like staring at nothing again. Bill looks over and is just like, okay. And they start digging.
They start digging, and
digging.
Before long, a little shoe peeks out of the dirt.
Well, they get the smell.
That's
smell?
right. No, the smell first. Bill tells us a story about how he used to be a hunter, and one time he was tracking these deer or whatever.
And clipped it, but didn't get the full kill shot, so he kept tracking it.
Yeah, and it took him a couple days before he could find it, but by the time he found it, the smell was...
It had huddled up and died.
Yeah, and it was so bad that he never hunted again, and he was like,
This is that
smell.
And then they find the shoe, and then they find a hand, and then they uncover the face, and Billy has to walk away to throw up, and Dan is gagging himself, trying not to throw up on the boy that they just found.
Profusely apologizing to Bill, by the way, being like, I'm so sorry, dude. I did not want to be right. You know what I mean?
I was hoping this wasn't going to be it. Dan goes over to Billy, who says, dude, what did you get me into? Which cuts to chapter 5, parlor tricks. They're back in the car. Dan says that Abra's in the backseat again, and he's explaining they'll be to her tomorrow. He needs her to tell her parents what's happening because they're just going to show up at her freaking house, and she needs to show them what's going on.
Yeah.
They're going to make a quick stop. Billy says, what stop are we making? He asks if he still has his old hunting guns. So they're stopping to get rifles before they head over to Abra's. They pull up into Abra's driveway, and her dad slams out of the house saying, "Your Uncle Dan, who the fuck are you? She's 13 years old.
Yeah, you fucking pervert." Like, I mean, as, you know, any normal adult should.
Dan says, "Did you show him? Like, I told you to show him." And she's like, "I told him." And he's like, "That's not the same thing. You have to show him." And he's on the hood of the car with her dad about to beat the shit out of him when she's like, "Sorry, Daddy." And she touches him, shows him shit, and
flashes all of the images of what happened to Brad.
Some of them.
Or yeah, not like everything, but like some of the images.
Just to get him to not beat the shit out of Dan.
Her dad like winces and like holds his head being like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "Sorry."
So they're invited inside now, and he's standing there saying, "Okay, well, what's the plan? What's going on?" Dan looks at her again and says, you gotta show him all of it. And she looks at him again and says, "Sorry, Daddy, I didn't ever want to show you this." And this is where she shows him the entire torture scene and what's going on and who these people are. He grabs a drink and looks over at the guys and is like, "Yeah." And they're both like, "We don't drink." And I'm like, yay! So proud of you guys. Keeping it sober, even in this terrorizing situation.
Hell yeah, man.
And so he downs another drink and he says, "Okay, what's the plan? Like, do I need to call the cops? What's going on?" And they have to explain that these people are probably really old and really connected and they don't care about the cops, so they're going to have to do something else. Dan gives Abra the baseball glove so they can track where these people are. She does the whole like apparition thing into the van, and obviously she can track Barry because he put the glove on, and in the van is Barry, Crow, and then the three women. They all have names also. They all have, again, Barry the Chunk, Crow Daddy, all these kinds of names.
Sneak by Andy.
They all have very specific outfits too. They were very much the actors had not the option, were encouraged to make their own character. Then they would be called out if they were acting out of character, right? But they got to kind of design their own character and who they were and how they like that. The character design and stuff.
You can feel that even though you don't see a ton of the whole family, you only really see like Crow Daddy and Rose, and I mean you get a couple lines here and there from other people, but you still get that good strong feeling of like the individuality of it all. So like I can see where that definitely tied in.
Yeah, and if you look at their wardrobe design too, it was a big thing to make sure like they're layered in centuries of like in a culmination of just the years they have lived, which I thought was super cool as well. I love it when people actually pay attention to set dressing is a really big thing for me, but costume design as well.
Yeah, man, we say it all the time on this podcast, but like it's the little things that all add up to make something just that much more special. And you can feel it almost every time. No matter how that type of love or passion is implemented into a project like this, you can always tell.
Yeah.
It always translates no matter what.
And maybe that's why we also really like Mike Flanagan. Like, I feel like every movie he does, it feels like a passion project where he's pouring himself into every little detail and thinking about all of these things, because the amount of stuff he did specifically for this one, he was looking at old blueprints. He got a hold of the Kubrick Foundation to get the original blueprints of the Overlook and how they designed everything and why Kubrick changed things, and then talked to Stephen King about stuff and all of the little fucking details.
Dude, he probably looked like Charlie from It's Always Sunny with the fucking crazy board when he was storyboarding The Haunting of Hill House. Just like,
and this
don't worry about it. This guy,
yeah,
this is exactly what I've been talking about.
Yes.
It's so good.
So the three of them, meaning Billy, Dan, and Abra, drive out to... He says, we're going to use you as bait or something. And then they drive out to a campground with Abra in the back seat. And they're like, this will do. So they drive out there. They keep telling Abra to focus. And she says it's really hard. He's like, you've got this. Don't worry about it. They set her up she's sitting down on a picnic bench by herself when the caravan pulls up. Andy is leading the pack.
Yeah, she gets approached by Andy, who is like doing the suggestion stuff.
You trust us. You want to be friends with us.
Yeah, as she's walking up to her.
We get a shot of behind her back and there's a needle.
Yeah.
With an injection
She's
thing.
got a needle in her hands. And Abra's kind of going along like like, I trust you, like kind of dozing off a little.
Once Andy gets close enough.
She walks up and jams a syringe into her neck, pushes it in.
She looks back at the rest of the True Knot and says, with all the hype they put about you, I thought this was going to be harder.
And she looks back and it's a little stuffed rabbit.
And Barry's like, a parlor trick. It's these fucking parlor tricks. And then shots start going off.
And then instantly Barry gets shot and fucking
drops and starts doing the whole like phase in and out and disintegration
starts
process.
To instantly cycle, but like painfully, and starts screaming. And shots start ringing out at all these fucking people.
Everyone gets hit. Like, people are getting shot left and right. Billy clips Andy in the shoulder before she can get all the way into the RV. Everyone, so you don't see Crow, right? But everyone there ends up getting slaughtered. Andy's in the RV, so they come out. Dan comes out from where he was hiding, and he points at the door, shoots at it, but his rifle's empty. He's like, oh, fuck. So he starts putting it, loading it up again, and Andy comes out saying, you don't want to do that. You're so sleepy. You're so sleepy. And Dan can fight it for a second, but he falls to the ground and then slowly passes out.
And then Abra wakes him back up.
Yep.
He's sitting there and she has the gun pointed at him and she's like, fucking hate men, or something to that effect.
Fucking men, you ruin everything.
And
something like that.
She cocks the gun, goes to pull the trigger, but then she gets shot by Bill. She falls back and starts phasing, turning into a fucking demon, essentially.
But meets Bill's eyes, and Dan tries to tell him to get away, but he's too close, and Andy looks at him and says, kill yourself. And so he turns his rifle on himself and shoots himself in the head.
Puts his rifle to his chin and pulls the trigger. Which, first off, I just want to say kudos to Bill for being the best friend that Dan could have ever asked for. Yeah. Because any other sane person would not agree to go get his hunting rifles and wait in the woods for a group of people to show up and just start shooting. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Abra probably gave him a little bit of that show. Maybe not, because
or
he
maybe
trusted.
Dan did, or something. But
goddamn, Bill was such a good man and
not only
great friend.
After he got him up off his feet, he got him to AA, got him a house, got him to be a person again.
Saved his life.
Literally. And then
for nothing. He didn't even want anything in return.
No, he said, I just see some of myself in you and I got a hunch about it. I know that look. And then to, again, trust Dan with this crazy tale, go through all of it, and still be like, even if you're crazy after this, I know how to handle it. And then just to die.
It's so rough. This one hurts. Of all the deaths to happen in horror movies, this one's a real fucking stinger to the heart.
Well, Abra appears, says we got all of them, but I didn't see the crow. Where's the crow? And then her apparition disappears. The crow is at her house, and she just got stuck in the neck by the syringe. And this, again, I didn't say it earlier, why was she just in the back of the car? Where the fuck is her dad? Why would her dad, like, let her go with these people? And then, you know, it's not her dad, it's the bunny. Where the fuck is your dad now while you're meditating on your fucking breakfast counter?
Oh, well, as he takes Abra out of the house, we see a shot of her dad dead on the kitchen floor with the knife.
This scene is extended for me. She gets injected in the neck, and her dad does walk out. He's pointing a knife at the crow saying, "Get the fuck away from my daughter. I will kill you. Get away from my daughter."
Oh.
Right? Crow comes over, arrogant as all can be, saying, "You rubes. You know, you think you're all that. What are you actually gonna do?" Gets in his face, and we don't see the death happen, but you do see. Then it cuts to him walking out with Abra, and Dad's dead on the floor.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of an interaction between Crow. Oh, he also says, "Oh, I'm so happy to meet you. I get to meet the cook that made my food, or my dinner. I get to thank the cook." Dude, yeah.
Y'all can't hear it, but my jaw just dropped. I looked over at my co-host like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, he's like, "I'm actually glad you're here. I wanted to thank the cook who made my food," or something like that. It's wild.
That would have made me feel like I needed to shower.
You gotta watch the extended version, man.
I do have to watch the extended version, but as soon as that happens, I'm gonna feel gross all over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my fucking god. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Stephen King read this and was like, they're not gonna let you fucking make this movie. So, you know, if he said it, I can only imagine. Yeah, it's the
She wakes up in the van again, in the back seat. And again, but that's not what I meant. They're in the van. She wakes up in the van, or his car. She goes to do something, and he puts a hand on his pistol on the side of his belt. He's like, "I think you should just hang out, enjoy the ride." She asks what he did to her. He says they dosed her more than he's ever dosed anyone in his life. She's okay, but her steam is useless right now.
Yeah.
She asks if he killed her dad. He says that...
This is fucking crazy to me. Can I just say, she's like, "You killed my dad." And then he goes on to gaslight her, essentially by being like, "No, this is all your fault, because if you would have just let us do our thing, all of these innocent people wouldn't have died. So it's your fault." And she starts crying in the back seat. I'm like, what the fuck is it going
he says the outcome's the same. You could have just came with us. We were going to get you either way. People died on your side and my side. A lot of good people died. The outcome's the same. And you could have prevented it.
He just fucking gaslights her, bro. It's crazy. He gaslights her into thinking she should have just given up and been a meal to a child.
Yeah.
I know it's just a movie, but like that concept in and of itself is just...
But it makes it... You can compare them to vampires, right? Like, this is just a meal for him. He doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
And having that real, raw, vampiric need of, I don't give a fuck what you are.
It's just a matter of making them submissive. And so, like, breaking them down emotionally is a part of it, to just be like, once I get you to the point where you'll shut the fuck up and not try to fight me anymore, then we're good sailing. But with the stronger victims like Abra, that
you gotta break them harder.
That takes time, and that takes a lot of fucked up shit on their part to get to that point. So I understand it, but it's still fucked up.
It's just, I think it's just been a while since I've seen like a hardcore like villain like that, where it's very much, because in 30 Days a Night, for example, they're just very animalistic in their beings, and so you don't really see their intelligence. They don't really talk, right? So you don't really...
for them, for like 30 Days a Night, it was more of
they felt more
sport and food, but they weren't starving, so it was essentially sport. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so to see this group of beings being able to high intelligence and all this kind, it's just been so long since I've seen that kind of dynamic with a quote unquote like monster flick, right? If we want to compare them to something that's non-human eating people, they're very intellectual about it. And so there's something so human about seeing him talk to her this way, like he's talking to food.
Yeah, especially when they don't even necessarily like eat the people. Like, it's not cannibalism.
Mm-hmm.
They are consuming the essence of these people.
Yeah.
Which that in and of itself is fucking 10 layers right there.
Well, and how Rose says pain and fear purifies their steam. So this is just another layer of, we're gonna get all of the best steam out of you with everything. Like just the mental shit that's going on here is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
She tries to call out to Dan, but obviously, again, her steam is muted. She can't reach out to anyone. After all of him watching his best friend just shoot himself, he goes back to Abra's house. Abra's no longer there. He sees Dave dead on the floor. He takes the bottle of Jim Beam or whiskey or whatever the hell it was off the counter, goes back home, sits on the edge of his bed. He's freaking out. He goes to drink it and stops itself, goes to drink it, and then he puts the cap back on, slams it, shatters it on the ground, does not touch it. My man.
Fucking man.
He's sticking to his shit right now.
You gotta stick to it. For some people out there, it's really fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. But the fact that you make it another day, that's all that fucking matters. I'm approaching 3 years, which
dude.
It doesn't even feel like that long. But that's not the case for everyone. And so, I mean, with Dan especially, I wouldn't have blamed him.
Yeah, no,
I would have been a little disappointed, but I wouldn't have blamed him.
No, if anything, I was like, you deserve it.
Because like the man, your brother essentially, who just dug you out of the trenches and saved your life, just shot himself in the head in front of you, not of his own will even.
Mm-hmm. I would not have blamed him.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
He doesn't. He shatters that shit on the floor.
Breaks that shit on the floor, which my first thought was, you're going to wake up your tenant.
That's what my thought was. Your poor landlord. Like, she told you to be quiet. What are you doing up there?
She wrote it on the board. Behave.
I know it was 8 years ago, but still.
It's so funny.
He sits on the bed and he tries to reach out to Abra, but it's not working. So he's sitting there kind of panicking and says, "You've always said your brain is a radio, so stop calling out and tune in." So he starts listening, and for the first time in ages for him, probably, he's hearing everyone around their thoughts of, and it's flicking through a radio channel, just how he said, of you catch this and you catch that, until he's tuning into Abra's voice and hearing her call Dan, and he is able to do the astral project thing and appear on the ground next to her in the car and talk to her, and
he's like, just trust me on this, take my hand. And then he like puts his hand out and they touch hands, and then all of a sudden it cuts to that same view of like us being up front with Crow looking back like towards the back of the car, and she sits up. Oh god, I feel like shit.
I feel like I'm hungover.
And you're like, what?
I haven't fucking felt like this in ages. And she's cracking her neck, and Crow's like, and who are you?
Oh my god, it's so good.
Crow says something about just, we'll get to you too, or whatever, being super arrogant, which Dan Abra says, it's just arrogance with you. You guys think you can live forever, so you're not even wearing your seatbelt, are you? She shoves her hand forward, swerving the car into a pole, crashing it, and Crow gets launched.
We see
out
a
of the car.
top-down view of
the van crashing.
Yeah, the van crashes, and you see Crow fly out the front seat, and then Abra comes to like as herself and just like sees Crow 15 feet ahead of the car, laying out there cycling.
She bends down next to him and says, I hope that hurts a lot.
Yeah. Abra is badass.
She is.
For a 13-year-old, sometimes it's hit or miss in these movies. You know, you throw a young kid into it.
Dude, her acting?
Oh, she's such a good actress, but also, like, it can either just be, like, really dumb and just, like, ugh, like, why? Or it can just be, like, that kid fucking rules. And I mean, shit, it's Mike Flanagan, so he won't disappoint. He made that kid a badass.
They went through 100 different castings for Abra.
I'm sorry for the rest of those who didn't get it, but I'm so glad that they fucking did, because they took their time and made sure they found the right one.
And that was the thing. They were like, we have to cast the right Abra, right? Mm-hmm. And after, I think, it was her second interview, whoever was casting looked over at each other and they're like, so it's her, right? Like, that's who we're going with.
Yeah, that's so good.
I hope she keeps acting and has a wonderful time because I want to see what else she does.
Oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to her.
She could be a big name in like a year or two. Like, just give it time. We'll see her.
Dude, hella, yes, I'm excited for her career. He calls out for Rosie, Crow does, one more time before he cycles completely.
Rosie flips the fuck out.
She is flipping out the entire time. She feels every single time one of her family, because they're
like tied to each
together.
other.
Their life forces are all pretty much tied together. So she feels it, and it's like she's getting shot herself every time one of them dies. She's groaning out in pain, screaming as every one of them dies. And when Crow goes, it's game over. She's pissed. She astral projects in front of Abra, who's walking down the street, saying, "I will murder you, like I will get to you."
Abra's like, "Try it, bitch."
Walks directly through her apparition.
That's so good.
Just such a badass. So Rose goes into her RV. There are 2 canisters left, and she sucks up both of them, which heals her hand. Also, just a side note, she lost out on all of their steam. She wasn't there to suck up all of their shit. That's wasted steam, which I think is great. Her eating those canisters heals her hand up entirely. That's been kind of in a mid zone of mostly healed, but still pretty gnarly looking.
She powering up.
Oh, yeah. Dan rolls up on a motel where Abra is just like hiding behind some stairs, chilling.
They hug.
My whole thing throughout this whole movie is I feel so bad for Abra for a lot of things, but she's at the will of everyone else because she can't drive, and they're driving so many places across country to different towns, and she's just like, I'll make it somewhere and someone will have to come get me, I guess.
Yeah.
She has no money, like nothing.
Because it cuts to them driving, and she's like, "Where are we?" And he's like, "Ohio." She's like, "Where are we going?" And he's like, Colorado. And she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well,
remember that place I told you about?"
Yeah, Rosie's never gonna, like, she's not gonna stop. But you remember that place I told you about? Well, my thought is,
if it's bad for us,
it's bad for us, it's probably bad for her too. We're gonna go there and
showdown.
Which, oh my fucking god, this gets so good because one, they stop at the gas station.
They get a call though.
Oh, that's right. So
Abra's mom calls.
Abra's mom calls, and she's like, "Hey, Mom." And it's her mom on the front porch, and there's like a police investigation going on behind her, and she's like, "Oh my god, thank god." Like,
where are you? Are you okay?
She shows up home, her husband is dead, and her daughter's missing.
She's on the phone with Abra. She's like, "Are you okay? Where are you?" And
she's like, "I love you," and then hangs
up. Looks over at Dan and says, "You'll call her once we're done, right?" And he says, "Yes." She drops her phone out the window because it's an iPhone. It can be fucking tracked and all of that kind of stuff. And she's
So then it cuts to Dan filling up the car at the gas station, and it's snowing out. He gets in the car and he's like, "Well, it's not too much longer, just a quick trip up the mountain." And then it cuts to this shot looking up at the mountain. It's that time of night where the sun has set, but it's not completely down. So like there's light on the skyline, but there's darkness, like, you know, just in general. So you just barely see the silhouette of like the top of the peak. And then we get the same fucking cut from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining with the music.
It's
of flying over the lake towards that little island in the middle, past the island,
up with the car,
to a slow transition to the car driving through the fucking trees, and it's the same like organ the
same exact music.
Same music. So oh my god, it gave me the chills, dude.
It's Kubrick's film. So it is the original shots that they just put snow on and color graded and changed it, but those are the same fucking scenes.
It's so good. Well, you can tell because it's got the camera kind of wobbliness. It's not super steady like the rest of the movie's been. So it thrusts you back into that fucking time. And it's a blast from the past, dude. To the fullest extent. I just remember getting to that point and like I got the goosebumps. I was like, fuck yeah.
We get Chapter 6, What Was Forgotten, which is a really big term in the fucking Shining to be Chapter 6. So I'll cut all of that, but yes, so Chapter 6 definitely is named because of an homage.
It's so good.
He parks the car with the lights on, pointed at this snowdrift in front of the overlook. And we get that same shot too as they crest around of the outside of the overlook, that same freaking shot.
It's so menacing, dude. Because,
Yeah.
they've talked about the fact that the overlook was abandoned after the incident with the Torrance family. And so it was just left to rot. And so when you think about driving up through the forest to the top of this mountain and you just see this dark, hundreds of windows, and I mean,
boarded up, and
my mind just goes straight to what has persisted throughout that time that it's just been with the overlook specifically too, not even real life, the ghosts, everything in there, it's just
well, because doesn't Dan say they're probably starving too?
Yeah.
It's so him and Abra get out of the car. He tells Abra that you're gonna wait in the car. I don't want you in there a second longer than you have to be. She's like, okay, you're not gonna wait with me. He says, no, you can look and see. There's only one way up here. Call me when you see her, but I gotta go wake it up. So he walks in. Ugh. And this
he walks in and he takes a crowbar to get the door open, and he steps through. Immediately, the chandelier above him, the lights turn on, and he's like, wakey wakey.
And as he's walking through, you can hear the lights hum one above him. He's literally powering the hotel as he walks, as the lights turn on. Mm-hmm. And you walk past the elevator and you walk past these doors and you're looking at everything and you're like, it's not exactly what I remember. Why is it so off-putting that something feels different about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He turns down hall after hall and he ends up going to the caretaker apartment where that panel where Jack took the axe is still gone, and he pushes it open and he walks in and he looks over and red rum's still on the door and that panel's also gone, and he peeks in and you get this flash to freaking Wendy screaming in the corner, yelling at that's Jack's face, but kind of flash forward and backwards at the same time. And he walks down to the Colorado room.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's down there and he walks up to the bar where there is a glass sitting empty, and we get it's a fucking homage to The Shining because it's parallel to Jack being in the Colorado room,
sitting at the bar, and
a voice starts speaking and he says, "You're a whiskey man, aren't you?" It's on the house as he pulls a glass, and Danny says, "Oh, this is your brand." And you get this full shot because you've only seen Dan this entire time, right? Mm-hmm. And then it flips to a sideways shot and you see that the bartender is Jack.
Yeah.
And he's holding a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Not Jack Nicholson, unfortunately, but it's Jack.
Yeah. And he says, this is your brand. I remember smelling it one time and thinking it was on fire, and I guess that was kind of true. And Jack says, You must have me confused with someone else, sir. My name is Lloyd. And then he goes on about how men just get put upon, that girl who just put upon her problems onto you, expecting you to solve the issues. And he's like, put upon. Uh-huh. And instead of engaging with the rhetoric of, the misogynistic rhetoric that was in The Shining of, you're a man just trying to take care of business and you have all these people trying to get up in your business and make you responsible for them, he goes on to talk about that him and Wendy, Dan ignores that and goes on to talk about how him and Wendy had moved to Florida because they never wanted to see snow again. And it was, this 2-bedroom apartment, but it was theirs and it was nice. And they were there to grieve. They were slowly grieving and moving on just a bit. But Wendy could never look him in the eyes, and it took him a while to catch it. But once he couldn't unsee it, that she could only look at him for a few seconds before she saw Jack in his eyes. And so he took care of that for her. And that was the last time he used it, just so she didn't have to see that. And she died 20 years ago. He can remember clearly that back in those times, he used to see big black flies. He called them death flies when someone was about to die. And she was so covered in them, I couldn't look at her. And how must she have felt that her only son was trying to comfort her, but couldn't look her in the eyes on her deathbed. Jack Lloyd pushes the drink towards him. And he's like, yeah, just drink up, or says something.
Medicine.
Yeah, he goes on to talk about, Danny picks up the glass and says, this will cost me more than money. And he says, your money's no good here. Your credit's good. All of the things that Lloyd said to Jack. And he says, no, it's going to cost me more than that. It's going to cost me the 8 years behind me and how many in front of me. Then he says, man takes a drink takes a drink, and then the drink takes the man. Isn't that right, Dad? Then he goes on about the business thing, or the medicine thing, about how the drink is medicine and your mind is a blackboard and the medicine is the drink is an eraser, and how humans need to, the whole thing is, it's an addictive personality trying to tell you that this is good for you because this is what it does to you. It's justifying the addiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, so tell me, pup, are you going to take your medicine? And Dan says, no.
And then Jack slaps the fucking glass across the counter. And then we hear Abra tune in and be like, Danny, she's here.
Oh.
And that's probably extended.
Yeah, there's an extended scene here. Damn, this is interesting. What scenes are extended? So he flicks the glass and it spills on Danny. It's the scene like Grady and Jack. They end up in the bathroom where Jack's saying, oh, let me clean that up for you, sir. So they go into the bathroom and he's standing there while Jack is cleaning off his jacket and doing that entire scene. And him saying, management is concerned. She's pulling you into her mess. And he's like, well, what would management have me do about it? And Jack says, nothing. Just bring her inside and accept the things that you can't change.
Damn.
Then Abra butts in, saying he's here. So she's here. Dan runs outside, grabs Abra. They both run back inside. And as soon as they're inside, Abra says, this place is sick like my Momo. It's sick like a cancer. And you want to talk about exposure therapy for Dan as he's going through this thing and walks by an axe. And you're just, oh, man.
Yeah.
He's just going through years of therapy in an hour.
Yeah.
Rose walks into the hotel, kind of putting out feelers. You can see as she's looking around, like feeling for their steam.
Walks past the elevators.
She sees the elevator scene with all of the blood gushing. And you will notice this is not the same blood elevator scene. It's at a different angle, and it's supposed to be from Rosie's point of view. And they couldn't recreate that scene because I guess it was done in miniature. Did you know this?
The old one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mike was talking about how it was done in miniature, and there was no way they could ever recreate that with all of that, the flow and how everything worked. And so they had to CGI the blood, and it's at a different angle because it's down below for Danny when Danny's a kid, and now it's up high for Rose's POV.
Interesting.
She watches it with like reverence too. She's watching it like this is a miracle happening before her eyes, before she just walks on and is like, oh, that's a thing. She finds them on the stairs in the room that Jack...
Did we mention that when Danny first entered the hotel, he went down to the boiler room and...
No, we forgot about that. I forgot to write that down.
Before going into the ballroom and all that stuff, one of the first things he does when he enters the hotel is he goes down to the boiler room and turns them on and like opens up the valves all the way.
He turns that on. He flips all the switches when after he says wakey wakey, he's physically waking up the hotel with his energy and then like goes to the boiler room to actually turn on as much as he can.
Yeah.
So she goes into the room that Jack was writing in, and there's that typewriter on the table still, and she leans up on that table while Dan is holding an axe in his hands with Abra behind him on the stairs. And he tells Abra to run telepathically, and Rose says, oh yes, run, send her away. I'm sure I can catch you, whatever, being super arrogant about it. Dan says run or go or now or something and pushes into Rose's head, and they're in the hedge maze. And Rose is obviously confused. She's talking about like being in Abra's mind. She's like, oh, you've made changes since the last time we were here. This is an improvement. And she sees Abra curve a corner around the maze, and she follows Abra's footsteps in the snow, just like Jack did with Danny, going through until they make it into the middle. She's monologuing because all villains monologue. She's monologuing about this, that, and the other. And we get that big zoom out shot of them going through the maze as the maze just gets bigger and bigger with this shot. And then they end up in the center of the maze where Abra's waiting for her. This, I forgot to point this out. At one point, she's like, where are you, pup? And this is like language of the hotel, because Jack only starts using pup and those kinds of words once he's in the hotel, and now she's using the pup language. And you're just like, why? What era was it who is it that did all of this pup stuff, you know?
Crazy.
She meets Abra in the middle where she tells her, you're gonna die here. And Abra says, you can certainly fucking try. There's these quick scenes of they're in the center of the maze, maybe like 20 feet apart, talking to each other. Abra disappears and then reappears, and as she reappears, she cuts the back of Rose's knee and then is exactly where she was before. And this happens like 3 times as they're talking.
It's so good.
She's such a fucking badass. One of the times she disappears, Rose says, "You're too young to know. You don't understand. You don't know what you would do for more time."
Mm-hmm.
Like the lengths you would go to. Oh, Abra also turns her words around on her, saying, "You should know it better than anyone. Pain and fear purifies the steam."
Yeah.
And the last time she goes to slash at Rose's knees, Rose catches her by the throat. This is where she like starts talking about, "Your mind looks so different now. You've made improvements." And in the background, you can just kind of see this like box just slowly inching its way towards her as she's talking. And she's like, "Wait a second, this isn't your mind." And the box almost clips her, but they get shot out, and Dan gets shoved back into his body and slammed into the stairs. Abra gets slammed into the stairs. Rose slams her hands on the table. They keep calling them rubes, and I don't know what this means, but Crow Daddy did it, and now Rose is saying it. When you rubes get older, the steam gets polluted, it gets greasy. You don't shine as well. You don't shine as bright anymore.
Yeah.
I have no idea what rubes means.
I was just about to Google it.
Okay. I will keep going then. She goes up the stairs after, and I keep wanting to say Andy. I don't know why.
Oh, it is an informal, often derogatory term for an unsophisticated, naive, or uneducated person from a rural area.
I've never heard that term before. I'm sorry if that's offensive to anyone. I didn't realize it was like...
Yeah, well, I mean, like a con artist would take advantage of a rube tourist.
So it could be... is 50-50.
She's just calling them like really like dumb.
Yeah, ignorant, dumb people.
It's also like a bit classist. Like there's
yeah, it sounds classist if anything.
But I mean, that makes sense because from what it sounds like, she was at one point probably like a queen or like someone of like a high authority or royalty even. So
yes, yeah. So she looks down on
down on the common man.
She goes up the stairs where Danny is walking backwards, trying to keep her at bay, much like Wendy keeping Jack at bay, and she had the baseball bat, but he has the axe, and he's flipping the axe from hand to hand, trying to keep her distance. And she's
like, "Oh, how did I not notice you?
Where have you been, handsome? No, really, where have you been? How did we overlook you?" And gives him the same deal that she gave Andy about eat well, live long. You can come join us. Just hand her over. It'll be fine.
They get to the top of the stairs and he's like, "I think you already know what my answer is going to be." And she's like, "All right, we going to fucking do this or what?" That's literally what she says.
So he swings the axe, catching her in the shoulder. She grabs the axe, yanks it from him, uses it like a fucking shovel, kicks him, it like gets him in the thigh, and then tosses him down the stairs with it.
Yeah, yeets him down the stairs.
He tumbles hard.
Yeah.
I watched the stunt double do this in like the behind the scenes. Oh, it was so cool how the whole thing happened. Oh, it was good.
She goes down and is like, "Oh,
I cut
your carotid artery or your femoral artery. You're gonna bleed out soon.
You have such a temper. What a waste." And then she kneels on him and digs her thumb into the cut she made in his artery. And then as he screams, steam is coming out of his mouth. And so she's eating it and she's like, "Oh, you taste like whiskey." She pretty much says like he aged well and like the steam is still good in him, and she wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Oh, she starts getting flashes into his head of the twins and the overlook and all those kinds of things, and then sees the flashes of the boxes.
She's like, "Oh, damn."
Are those something special? Oh, what does she say? "You've had a life of terror. It's so delicious. What are you keeping in those boxes? Is it something special?" And he says, "No, but they're hungry." And he opens all of the boxes.
Oh my God, it's so good. And then it cuts to all of the fucking...
everything he's ever locked away.
Yeah. All standing behind them. Or actually, no, at first it's just the old lady, the naked lady. She like shows up and looks at Rose, and Rose like freaks out and panics and like takes a step back, and she's surrounded by all of them. The twins, Grady, great party, isn't it?
Yeah,
that guy.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And did you notice like the fusing that happens?
Yeah,
they touch her.
They get her down on the ground, and they like put their hands under her skin and start like
eating her in the weirdest way.
Yeah, like torturing her and eating her steam. Fucking Danny's just watching this happen from like 3 feet away.
He's smiling until she's dead, disintegrates, and they turn around and look at him. And he's like, "Oh fuck!"
And they come up and start grabbing him and reaching into his face.
The twins are like, "Come play with us, Danny, forever and ever."
Yeah.
Music starts playing as this is happening, and we get Abra walking down the halls, who also bumps into the twins and is like, "Oh." And she goes to turn, and you see what looks like is Jack, because he's all hunched over with the axe, and you're like, axe. "Oh, what? Is like Jack's spirit also here?" Then it looks up, and it's fucking Danny with one eye ghosted over.
Screaming at Abra, like stumbling towards her the same exact way that Jack was after Jack had injured his ankle and all that. Ewan McGregor must have really watched it over and over again just to like really nail that in his head, because he fucking nailed it.
So Abra's running away, and she sees the great party guy. She's starting to see some of these people just appear in the hotel now. And she locks herself in an open room, which is 237, where the naked lady is pulling the curtain away and stepping out of the tub. And this is what this whole scene. So good. This is what happens at the end of the Shining book. So her looking at Danny saying, "You're not real, you're just a false face." That happens in the fucking book. This is just all homage to the fucking book, and it's so good. And you can see the facade break, and he's like, "If I'm not me, who am I?" And like it turns back into Dan, and it happens in the book the same way with Danny and Jack. Oh, I loved seeing this happen.
It's fucking crazy.
She brings the axe down, trying to hit Abra, and she just holds up. She grabs his hand. And then the axe drops, and he's fully himself again. She's like, "Oh, I thought I lost you there for a second." She's like, "I'm not leaving without you." And he's like, "I told you to run." And he says, "Someone has to close the door after us." And she says, "Okay." So she runs, and he clouds back over. He gets the white eye and turns around and starts going back through. Oh, she also says, "You don't know Dan. You don't know the first thing he did when he got here was go down to the boiler room and turn everything on."
Mm-hmm.
Oh! And so then the thing starts screaming, "No!" And once he gets clouded back over, he goes to the boiler room. All I could think of right now is he's accepted his death, right? He knows he's going to die. How the hell is a 13-year-old going to get off the damn mountain when this place explodes? Again, honestly, the whim.
I would think that way for any young kid except for Abra, because she got all the way to fucking Frasier.
Yeah, but she had money, and it wasn't snowing, and she's definitely not dressed for this weather, and it was a city.
But she's smart enough to just be like, "I'm gonna take the car into town."
I don't know if she can drive.
It's not a matter of like, it's just like, I'm gonna fucking step up to the plate and drive. But like, she seems like she would do that. After all the initiative she's taken in this movie, she would take the initiative to drive a fucking car down the mountain.
I'm just thinking about how they describe it in the book being like the switchbacks, and could you imagine that being your first time driving?
Oh yeah, I mean, but like,
and then you add the snow on top of it.
When you don't have any other choice, you either freeze to death or...
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's just, that's the first thing I thought of. I had a similar thought in Final Destination Bloodlines.
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, there's a scene where they drive out to the middle of nowhere. Their only vehicle crashes, and then they walk away. And I'm like, "Where are you going? You're in the middle of nowhere. How did you get back home?"
Yeah, geez.
They don't explain it, but this one thankfully gets explained. She's waiting outside of the hotel and is watching it explode. And inside, Dan is fighting himself with half of him's trying to reach for the dampener, and half of him's not. And then he finally just backs away and then kneels down at the ground. And in front of him is Wendy kneeling with him.
Well, everything catches on fire.
Blocks his exit, yeah.
The boiler starts to fall apart, and so like a fire starts, blocks the door. Yeah, Wendy shows up, and her hand shows up and starts holding his face, and then it pans over to her, and then it pans back to him, but it's kid Danny standing there with his mom. Cuts to Abra outside, and she's like, "Please make it out. Please make it out." Meanwhile, the hotel is maximum flames,
and you just see all of the flames through all of the the boarded up windows too. It's such a cool shot. This is exactly how I pictured it in the book too.
And as she's it's so good. And then as she's standing there, there's emergency services like
already on their way,
way down the mountain, but you can see the lights and barely hear the sirens echo. And then it goes to her room, right?
Yeah, she's sitting on the bed and she's talking about how like the fire purified the hotel and how she watched it, and as it was going on, she knew that you were going to be okay. And then the camera pans over and Dan's leaning against the window. And she says, what if Rose was right and there are more people like her? Like the evil people. And he says, there are also more people like you. There are people who stand up.
Dan
Yeah.
In the standing in her bedroom with her, being like, did you mention that Dan was in there?
Yeah, I said he was by the window.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. And so
It's been longer. What?
Yeah, it's not too bad, actually.
About the same time.
So
I've just been out of it.
No, you're good. He steps off the window and says, you know, there are people still like you who shine and who stand up, and you're going to be just fine. Shine on, Abra Stone. Shine on. And then he's gone, and Mom walks in saying it's time for dinner. Who are you talking to? And she says, no one. And then Mom's like, okay. And she walks out, and Abra follows and says, wait, I lied. I'm sorry. I was talking to Dan, and he's okay. And so is Daddy. And Mom just kind of looks at her and is like, thank you. That's nice.
Yeah.
And she walks down for dinner, asks Abra if she's coming, and Abra looks down the hall, and there's the naked lady in the bathroom. And she says, I'll be down in a minute. And she walks into the bathroom and then shuts the door just like Danny did.
And then we get the old-timey music.
And then that's it.
And the credits. Wow, 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 wow. I love this movie. Fantastic. I mean, if you didn't glean that from how fucking
much we raved.
Much I just lost it over some of the scenes.
Cinematography alone. I don't care if you don't like Stephen King movies. I don't care if you're not into... Because I can compare it mostly to a vampire movie, right? Where they're like feeding off of people. The cinematography alone, the acting alone, these people fucking blew it out of the goddamn water. I, again, didn't even realize how long it was.
Because you're just fucking in it. You're like, oh my God, this is crazy.
There's no real lull where you feel like something like... Because even with the whole opening thing with like Dan being a drunk and stuff, you're more on your edge of, okay, what's going on? Like you're a little bit confused and it's drawing you in. It's not like, oh, fuck, we got to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Like it draws you in and it keeps you in.
Oh, it's so good. Go watch it or add it to the list if you now have a list of horror movies to watch.
Watch The Shining, then watch this. It's such good homage.
Yeah, honestly, like you will appreciate both of these movies wholeheartedly. Like, go
watch it now.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Follow our Instagram and threads at No Self Service Pod. Until next time.